Hey all, and welcome back to the HFC All-Stars Marathon. We're wrapping up today with a run of HoloCure Save the Fans. And for this run, we had an ongoing donation bid war as to which of the 5 myth girls I'm going to be playing as for the first run today. And the winner of that was the one and only Pink Woman. And I'm glad she won because I really like Mori. But joining me today is Volkamar. How are you doing, good sir?
I'm doing very well. I was very happy with how the Risk of Rain 2 stream went, so I am feeling very good indeed.
Good shit. So, what this game is a Hololive fan game that's very much inspired by games such as, well, Vampire Survivors. Let's be real here. This is Vampire Survivors, but with Hololive girls in it.
It is precisely inspired by Vampire Survivors, because at that point, games had only just started sprouting up that sort of borrowed from the basic premise of the game. And I think HoloCure was one of the first, and Rotato and other things like that came along, and then later on we got Halls of Torment, and that's basically where we're at right now. Obviously, Vampire Survivors is still getting updates as well, but then again, so is HoloCure. There's still so many idols that need to be implemented into this here video game.
Yeah, I will say, I'm not sure about when the VOD version of this will go up on YouTube, whether the next big update will be out by then. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to reschedule this to after the next Steam update comes out, because it is getting a Steam release fairly shortly, actually, just over a week or so, which will be adding the ID goals, as well as what looks like quite a lot of different feature updates. But yeah, this is one last hurrah for the pre-Steam release version, which has been going out through itch.io. But yeah, Volk, do you have experience with this particular game, mate?
Not with the game itself, no, but that might be partly due to me just being a purist and just playing the shit out of Vampire Survivors. I've put 200 hours into the game nearly at this point, I think. But, I'm obviously part of a couple of communities that follow the general goings-on of VTubing and what have you, so a lot of people have talked about it. So I've seen a few of the VTubers themselves actually playing it. I've seen, obviously, friends playing it, so I've got the word of mouth to go off of. And this is a very, very good game in its own right. And obviously just the fact that it's based around Hololive and everything around it is just icing on the cake.
I'd say it's obviously based on Vampire Survivors. It does have a bit of its own flair to it. One thing that might be standing out to you is just the control here. The fact that I am moving around, but I'm also moving which way I'm facing, which means it's got quite a different dynamic to it. I'm actually playing this on a controller with a twin stick setup, which I find works really nicely for this game.
Yeah, I was going to say, twin stick seemed like what they were going for, since obviously what this game has that Vampire Survivors doesn't is that you have some method of targeting. So they have this arrow that points roughly in the direction where you're attacking.
Yeah, it just adds that extra little dynamic. I played this game before, I actually played Vampire Survivors, so when I went back to that, it did take a little bit of getting used to just to know that I have to be facing where the guy is. So, a bit of a learning curve working backwards there. But yeah, I've been sort of skipping past this while we've been explaining stuff, but a lot of the powers that you unlock when you level up are based on the respective character that you're playing. Like Mori, she's a Reaper, so you get her death abilities, and I will say she has some of the best abilities, because this is one of those abilities that builds up over time, creates explosions, which obviously when you get crowds coming after you, that is very helpful. I also do want to build up the lava bucket, because that can help wipe things out around you as well.
Oh yes, especially the collab as well, the Mikomet.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Pretty much all of the collab powers in this are OP, and I know they are getting nerfed in the next update. So again, last hurrah for these kind of things.
Enjoy them while they can, obviously, but I don't know, I think they should stay decently powerful at the very least, because, you have to go through the trouble of getting all those items and then putting them all together,
Yeah, so just as the kind of structure of what we do in here, I have the 5 main levels unlocked, and I'm going to be doing runs of each of them. As for whether I beat them, that is to be seen, because I have a decent level of stuff unlocked now. I have a fair few you know, attack upgrades, health upgrades, things like that. But like the last level in particular, I'm gonna get completely fucking owned. So I'll be doing stage runs, and we'll see how long I last throughout those stage runs. But the first stage here that we're seeing is pretty simple now that I'm at this point.
I'm appreciating you giving this explanation why you indiscriminately slaughter my people.
Yeah, so do you have any preferences in Hololive then?
Well, I mean, considering the sentence I just uttered, it would be remiss of me not to mention Ina. I absolutely love how comfy her content is, and honestly, I think the Takodachi might be the greatest mascot ever conceived.
It is a cute little mascot, yeah.
Like, they're just so cute, cursed, and very basic in its design, but very much fit to form. And it's just, I don't know, it's just something about the whole package that just comes across as, yes, this is exactly what I want to envision myself being when I'm just vegging out to a stream.
That is fair.
I mean, aside from Ina, though, like, who else in Holo or cover in general? Because I'm going to count Holo Stars in this, because obviously they should. They are very much a part of the company.
Males on stream!
No. But no, it would be very remiss of me to not mention Vesper Noir. I love that dude. He is incredible.
Like, I like Vesper, I like Magni. They are both hilarious. Some of the other guys have been growing on me as well. I'll say, like, in terms of the main Hololive experience, for me, what I kind of mostly appreciate about the Hololive idols, I really like their musical work, and there is a bit of bias going on here. The fact that the first run we got, thanks to everyone's donations, we got Callie, and I'm very happy about that, because she has kind of introduced me to a style of music that I probably wouldn't have thought to check out otherwise, but I actually really like what she's been putting out lately. Her Cinderella album is fantastic. She's done quite a lot of other music that I've really come to like. I just really admire how creative she is with her work.
I like that she doesn't compromise on what the style is, because usually when you think of sort of like idol songs and things like that, you sort of think of a very specific style of music, and then, you know, the EN branch debuted, and at this point we're like, okay, so we're getting English VTubers, when it was basically widely a Japan-only thing for a while, except for, like, the very, very OG indies like Iron Mouse and Zentreya and things like that. But, you just sort of think, alright, what are these English girls going to put forward on the table? And then Calliope rocks up and just immediately drops fire rap album of the century.
Yeah, like, the hip-hop stuff, when I first heard it, I was kind of thinking, like, okay, this isn't for me, but she's also been getting incredibly creative with some of her more recent stuff. Like, if you listen to the Cinderella album, like, there's some hip-hop there, there's some electro swing, there's some pop, there's a bit of rock influence there. Like, she's just doing everything, and she's just doing it really well.
Yeah, I mean, you can just tell she's very sort of experienced as a singer, and she obviously works very hard to do what she does. I mean, she's a self-confessed workaholic.
Absolutely.
Like, she works herself to the bone, but in the process, she gets results out of it, and obviously it shows with how far she has come, just more or less off her musical prowess alone, I would say. Yeah,
like, I'm gonna be a little bit careful about, you know, talking outside of the VTuber stuff, but just like her entire workload, I could not keep up with that at all. And the fact that she works internationally as well, like she's going between, like, I think she's mainly based in Japan, but she goes back to the US for certain things constantly as well. Like, it's just fucking incredible, really.
And, you know, she's got, like, label deals and all this malarkey. She's performed everywhere. She got to have a collaboration with One Piece of all things, which at that point, if you are any way affiliated with Japan, you've just basically ascended to godhood at that point. Like, you're pretty much untouchable once you collab with One Piece directly. Like, she got to talk to Luffy, for crying out loud. Most people would literally sell their soul, their family's soul, and just about every acquaintance's soul in the process just to get, like, a 30-second conversation with Luffy.
Yeah, like, I don't follow One Piece like that, but I did hear the song that she did for it, and I really like that. It's got a sort of chill but still energetic vibe to it.
Yeah. But I mean, it's more the point that in Japan, at least, like, One Piece is like one of those things that's followed borderline religiously.
Yes.
Like, not even kidding. Like, you thought Dragon Ball was sort of like one of their mainstays. No, I think One Piece has long since taken over in that regard. Like, pretty much everybody in Japan, or you can always guarantee like every 1 in 2 people probably know about One Piece.
Yeah, because like, I know with big anime, there's always like the big 3, and it feels like the exact lineup of that big 3 kind of changes, like maybe every couple of years or so. But like, One Piece is consistently one of the big ones, isn't it?
Yeah, like almost no question. Alright, so we actually have a question in chat here from a Commander Zaktan, and he asks, do you have any thoughts on the new Hololive EN members' advent?
I did watch the debuts, I've watched a bit of Shiori's stuff. They all seem like really sweet girls, so I feel like they're probably going to take a little bit of time to sort of grow into their roles, like everyone does. But like, just the impression they left, I like Shiori because she's got that sort of crazy energy to her. She's a little bit unhinged, but in a good way. And like, the twins are adorable. Like, again, I had a feeling who they would be, and they are, and like, they're just great at what they do. So I'm really glad that they're getting a good start, and they seem to have impressed a lot of people. I haven't got around to watching much from Nerissa or Bijou yet, but like, again, their debuts really impressed me. Nerissa's got a great singing voice as well, which is always really nice to hear in a VTuber idol. How about you, Volk?
I think I pretty much mirror your opinions. I love that Bijou is a massive meme lord. Just like right from the start, utilizing Divine Boom, you know she's leaning hard and she knows what she's about. Nerissa, as you say, amazing singing voice, and it's always nice to see just like one of those like VTubers who is just like a super duper fan of her senpais, that it just shines through, and it's like, you just can't help but sort of share that energy with them, you know. And obviously, Fuamoko, absolutely adorable, and very, very happy to see them finally getting some like super duper recognition, which they've honestly deserved for the longest time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, even if you don't really know like where they came from, it just does the soul good to know that they're just doing as well as they are, like, immediately from the get-go. And I think I remember a comment I saw in like one of the random clips I wound up watching, and they put it across quite nicely. It's like, Fuamoko is like the closest thing to a Japanese VTuber in English as we're ever likely going to receive. They have that overall style that just oozes what your typical sort of Japanese VTuber might have.
They are like, they're sort of the streamer to idol scale, aren't they, really? And they lean very heavily on the idol part, and I think that works very well for them. And the fact that like they have that such natural dynamic off of each other, it just makes for a great experience.
The only one I don't have a huge amount of experience with really is Shiori, because obviously there's like shitloads of VTubers out there. Hey, Foobzilla! Sorry, tangent just appeared out of nowhere. You always got to get hype for Foobzilla. The cute monstrosity that it is.
The big friend.
Big friend. It's wonderful stuff. But yeah, Shiori's the only one I haven't really watched much of yet, but I'm hoping to change that soon when I get a bit more time to just veg out and just watch some stuff while just like grinding away on like Cyrillum Ultimate or something like that. But if she's like basically female Vesper, I get the feeling I'll get along quite nicely.
Basically, yeah. She's got the same sort of energy to her, like her general streams. One of her first streams she did after debut was like just a sort of recap on VTuber history, where she was just focusing on that, but also getting sidetracked a lot. She knows what she's talking about. Naturally, I know why she knows what she's talking about, but just the stream of consciousness that she's got going on, it's just so entertaining.
I saw a meme that goes on about what Shiori is all about, just like, start stream, chat, tangent, chat, tangent, chat, tangent, and it just goes on infinitely, and like the end is like literally in all of them, there's just like infinite tangents. Like,
just to sum it up a little bit, in that, like, her first stream that wasn't her debut, she somehow got brought into a tangent about like human cannibals, and then midstream thought, I should probably message my manager and see if I'm allowed to talk about this.
You know, after the fact.
Yeah. Like, that's the sort of thing that I just really like, because I feel like there's a very certain sort of appeal when it comes to corpo VTubers, where they're not completely unhinged, but they toe the line.
No, they like to push the limits of what they can talk about. You know, it's no surprise that you get people sort of going, "Ooh, can I talk about this? Like, is my manager okay with this?" But, you know, they're constantly just trying to find where that line actually is. And the thing is, you don't know until you actually get there a lot of the time. But they're obviously just something you just go, "Oh, no, absolutely not." But then you just come up with just, like, random cursed bullshit that's just like, I really want to talk about this, but you're not sure if you can, sort of deal.
Like, I'll say off the bat, Mayoshi, VTuber I love the most, who I've been watching for the longest and watch most often, is actually not a Hololive VTuber, it's Pippa from Phase Connect. And she is like the epitome of that. Of like, you know, like, probably shouldn't have said that, but okay.
I shouldn't have said that, but fuck it, we ball.
Yeah, and like, she's one of them. I'm very glad that she is in Phase, because they have like the right sort of balance with sort of thing of, they'll turn a blind eye to it to a degree, and it like kind of makes it more interesting when that line does get broken, you know?
Yeah. Like, obviously, there are some groups that are obviously a lot more lenient than others, but obviously it depends on where the origin of the corp is. I mean, if it's in Japan, obviously in Japan they have quite a few hoops and rings to jump through in order to actually put through the sort of content that an idol or streamer may want to put through. But if they're sort of more on the American side, you know, there's a lot more leniency with that sort of thing. And some probably just don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, pure and simply.
Because like, it's kind of become international, isn't it? Like, Phase Connect's in Canada. I saw Silver Dude mention Rin from Idol Corp. They're based in Israel. Like, there's kind of quite a few popping up. There's also been a few smaller corps that slip between the cracks that maybe haven't had quite as promising of support. So, it's like, to any prospective talents out there, do your homework before applying for anything. I'll say that much.
Yeah, that's more or less my opinion on the matter as well. Let's see. If I go for the chat here, a couple of people have named some of their favourite VTubers here. Axel Ryman has said that I'm a fan of Tenma when it comes to Phase Connect as well, so obviously you're not alone in this.
Oh, Tenma's great, yeah.
Silver Dude also chiming in on the Tenma talk by saying, so the peak of chaotic energy is how you would describe this person.
Basically, yeah. Like, the thing with Pippa is that, in the best way possible, she just doesn't really have a filter. She's like one of those bit chaotic with an absolute heart of gold, you know?
Yeah, but very much one of those things I'll sometimes say something and just go, "Ooh, I probably shouldn't have said that."
Yeah.
But also following on from that, Silver Dude also mentions that I love Rin as a VTuber and loves her sharks. And I can absolutely agree with that. Church of Blahas represent.
Yeah, like, Idol Corp seem to have this good balance in the middle where, I forget which of the girls it was who talked about it, but they've talked about how their company's approach to management is more that they'll advise. Like, whenever someone comes up with an idea for a stream that might be a bit contentious, they might suggest not doing it, but they won't necessarily stop it. And you can kind of tell that some people do push the line a little bit if you see some of the stuff that, like, Yuko's been up to.
Yeah, that might actually be Rim, because she does a lot of shorts on like what typically goes on, not like directly behind the scenes, but she'll give like a roundabout general explanation of like what to expect. Like, hey, I want merch ideas, and this is what I have to do to go through there. And she does a really good job of sort of like explaining like the inner nuances of sort of being part of like a corporation as a VTuber.
Yeah, like, whenever I see I guess the closest word to it is drama, but like people talking about the VTuber who's taking things too far and that from Idol, it's usually Yuko. Like, did you see the lemonade stand stream?
No, I did not. But it sounds entertaining already.
Think about the worst possible idea that could come to your mind with that description, and yes, it is that.
Oh god.
Yeah.
And I noticed that we've entered the Q zone now.
Yes, we have. That's actually something worth pointing out. This game was developed by someone called KU, and he was the person who did the animation for the Q music video. So it's nice that although this is a fan game that's been around for a while, he has done some work directly for the talents, which is neat.
It's actually quite funny that he actually goes and makes a music video like that. Says, you know what, I should just make a game as well. And it's just like, I'm just amazed that Cover themselves and sort of like approach them and like put them in the means to potentially monetize something like this. Because honestly, this would be something that would sell oodles without question. And I'm just kind of amazed that they haven't sort of approached with that sort of thing yet. But at the same time, I quite like that it hasn't either, because it lets it keep it sort of like a purely sort of like a passion project. So if you feel like you just want to add a thing, you can just add a thing, and you know, there's no problems with that.
Well, KU himself has talked about how he likes to keep this as his passion project, because it's like, in between his other work that he does, like his IRL work, he likes to have something that's just a creative outlet for him. So, like, it makes sense that this is just, like, his fan work that he doesn't really want to take too far. But we have a second collab here. I already got the comic one earlier while we were talking, but if we combine the spider cooking with the EN curse, this is going to be an atrocity, isn't it?
Well, of course. I mean, it's Hachima and EN.
Yeah. So, Eldritch
Horror!
Look at this shit going on right here.
Hey! Oh boy, incomparable horrors from my nightmares.
Yep. Another one which seems kind of fitting for having a Reaper on stream.
Yes, indeed. I mean, obviously you'd expect that one more like an Ina, but I think that might be a little bit too guts unless you're going on about that animation video that some fan made.
What one was that?
The one that's like where all of Myth is like trying to stop Ina and like Ina's like destroying the world.
Oh, alright.
It's all like done in that sort of like monochrome style. I can't remember the exact name of it, but it's good stuff. Alrighty, so I suppose I should go on a little bit about what we are doing here, and we are in the process of raising money for Child's Play, a game industry charity dedicated to improving the lives of children and teens in children's hospitals around the world by providing that good video game stuff, so that they don't go insane or worse. And it is genuinely a nice thing that they are doing, because obviously we love our video games here. We believe very much in the healing power of video games, so us collaborating with Child's Play is just a given. So if you are interested in helping out the kids and getting some of that video game magic into the hospitals, feel free to pop in a little donation. Whether it's $1 or $100, it all helps and it all goes to a great place.
Yep, we also have a Sonic Frontiers raffle ongoing, a copy of that game on Steam. If you'd like to be entered for that, just donate $5 or more and let us know that you want in when you make the donation, and Vault can note you down to be entered.
I can. I have the ability to do so. I can use my clacky fingers to make it happen. And we are being assailed by saplings. Wonderful.
Oh,
I swear, Fauna fans are probably like the most unhinged people ever.
Well, Fauna just has that. She's just so like unapologetically really sweet, isn't she? She sort of has
Best
that
Girl
appeal
just
to her.
appeared on the screen as well.
Yeah, I saw. Got Yago.
What I love about Yago, especially over like the last couple of years, is that whenever they have like a massive like Hololive meeting in like PAX or something like that, he will literally appear out of nowhere, and like everyone will treat him with almost more revere, really, than a lot of the VTubers if they just suddenly appeared out of nowhere. He is as much a part of the idol group as anything else, and that's something you don't really see as like when you consider like the CEO of a company. Like you always think of him as being like very much behind the scenes, sitting upon a throne of money and, you know, directing things from up on high. But no, he is very much a Chad and very much down to earth from at least what I have personally observed.
Yeah, he's a very good face for the company, I feel.
Oh, by far. Like, the fact that he even goes out of his way to sort of, like, help promote the merch as well with, like, the promotional pictures and what have you. It's so good. Just seeing him with, like, socks on his hands and God knows what else. It's great.
Yeah, Axel, I think you've done your house. Let's see, I've nearly maxed out on my stickers. There we go. So this is the three most convenient ones I've found: the knockback, the size up, and the stun. They just sort of cover your ground a little bit, I find.
Yep, always good idea to have something to just keep enemies in place. I mean, that's true for like Vampire Survivors or just about anything, really. Just anything that can root things in place and just stop them from just nibbling away in your caps almost instantly is just generally very nice to have, especially when things start getting a bit more involved, like they are now. Like, you may notice as soon as you see the bitrate going down into the double digits, you know things are getting real.
Not just the bitrate, the frame rate too. It's shocking.
You'd be surprised. I mean, from what I'm seeing at least, the frame rate's holding up, but seeing it on the stream, you can clearly see the bitrate is taking a nosedive, but that's just part of the course for anything with a lot of particle effects on that. I mean, it's the same for Vampire Survivors, it's the same for basically anything. Like, if you have like lots of like really pretty explosion effects, like the bitrate just goes to shit. I mean, that's more on Twitch than anything else though. They're more than a little bit behind in terms of getting that technology to make things not look like the crunchiest things imaginable.
Well, to be fair, like, it is also just the fact that I'm streaming this not that high of a bitrate. Oh, here's our boss for...
Hey, Wolfie!
Yeah, we got the small army.
I love the fact that almost immediately, like when this debuted, when we got Small Ame, did you think that it would ever evolve into nearly anything close to what it is currently?
Nah, she's really taken this really well, hasn't she? The way she's introduced, like, well, she's just involved all the like different variants of her character, like Small Army, into her streams and that.
The funny thing is, she's gone from like silly haha fan art thing to becoming part of the lore, to then becoming like an actual mascot presence inside of the Holo conventions as well.
Yeah, I saw the officially hired cosplayer they had for her at the most recent fairs.
Oh, that's so fantastic. And you can tell the person in the suit as well is just having the time of their lives. I mean,
absolutely.
How can you not?
Yeah. Like, all the Hololive events, they have been fantastic, especially the last couple of years since they've worked on like the live band and with them. Some of those performances are great.
I mean, it's always difficult to implement a live crowd like that, but they found a way to do so, and honestly, it's quite the experience from what I've seen, at the very least. I mean, I can imagine in person it's probably another matter entirely. It's like otherworldly, I would think.
Basically, yeah.
Like, you consider like the early sort of Hatsune Miku concerts, and then you see where things have evolved to now. And it's just incredible, like, how far that, like, the technology in general has actually become, from just like being able to project such things onto a screen, being able to include all like the motion tracking and how that's all evolved, to the point where like motion tracking can pick up very, very intricate details. Like, I think if you had the technology from, say, like 10 years ago, like, you would never be able to get the legendary Coronet flip, for instance.
Oh, that was fantastic, like when she was doing the Airman song and just did that full cartwheel. That was fucking incredible.
So good. That GIF pops up many times on one of the Discords I frequent that just follow VTubing in general. Hey! Yeah. We win! Small Ame has been conquered. We win the video game. It is worth noting, if you're playing the survival mode in this, you actually get to a point where after half an hour, you're just assailed from all sides from golden Yago heads for all eternity until you just die.
Alright, let me show off how the shop system works here. So there's character gachas. I don't need to do this since I have everyone who's currently available. Like I said earlier, with the update they will be adding the Hololive ID girls, the Indonesian girls. And so there'll be a new group to try and roll for. But it's all in-game currency, so you don't got to worry about any of the negative sides. And if you do re-roll, even though you've already got everything, you can win alternate outfits to use. But there's also the upgrade system, so you can see I've got quite a lot of it already built up here. That's why I was able to just speed through that last level. But there's the ones that make it easier, but there's also challenge runs, so you can have weapon limits. There's the G rank off hardcore mode, which is basically just a no-hit run. Good luck with that.
Yeah, I can say from experience with Vampire Survivors, that shit's not easy to do.
Yeah, I wouldn't even attempt, but yeah, let's just give myself a health boost, might as well.
Yeah, why not? Shop around.
Alright, so we did the run with Mori, like I said I would for the donations. Volk, do you have a preference for who I should play as next?
Ooh, now you're putting me on the spot. Let me see here. Let's have you play as... let's go Roboco.
Roboco. Okay, I'm happy you picked Roboco, because she is great in this game.
Marvellous! Even better.
So her weapon, as you can probably expect, it's a projectile gun, and this, as you power it up, becomes fucking incredible.
It reminds me of the definitely not Bayonetta character in Vampire Survivors, where she sort of starts off with 2 guns that fire diagonally, and they just become insane after a while. She was widely regarded as one of the more powerful characters in Vampire Survivors up until, I think, Big Trouser came along.
Alright. Yeah, I haven't unlocked that much in Vampire Survivor yet. As you can probably imagine, for the sake of the marathon, I was working on getting everyone unlocked on this and trying to, boost up my power a little bit. But yeah, this level here, the Hololive office, this was like a bit of a choke point for me when I first started playing this, because it's a lot more compact than the grasslands, and that can be a bit of a challenge to deal with. I mostly tend to hang around this particular section here, because once you get into a habit of looping around, it becomes a lot more manageable.
But it's like when maps start to get a little bit more intricate like this, and obviously that's part of Vampire Survivors, or, walking to that other game similar to it can run, so you can sort of have these more complex sort of maps that loop around on themselves eventually.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always nice to see.
I like to boost my pickup range in this level, because that does really help out a lot here, especially when you can pick things up through the walls.
Oh yeah, pickup range is always very good, because you don't have to put yourself in immediate danger nearly as much, and there's less danger of just missing stuff in general.
Mm-hmm.
And chat is pointing out as well that one of the characters that you can opt to play as, Sana, has indeed sadly graduated as of last year. We will never forget Beak Girl.
Yeah.
But she is doing very well for it. But she is doing very well for herself, from what I can tell. She has 2 children, which she is very, very proud of. And I say children in quotation marks, not literal children, because that would just be creepy.
Yeah, no, you don't want to make any sort of comments about VTubers having partners or kids, otherwise, you look over at VT and they're just shitting themselves.
No, this is true. People are generally quite chill at the very least. I don't recall a single person, outwardly speaking ill when the Nanas and Naples stand announced that they were going steady.
How's the nicest way of putting this? Because I feel like there's a reason why people weren't as bothered by Nanas as they are with the more idle VTubers.
Maybe so, but also I'd like to think the pure cinnamon roll in me likes to think that they just acknowledge that they're just perfect for each other, and they just think, nope, not touching that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna avoid the pink cat good versus pink cat bad vibes, and instead focus on the fact that if you think there's no drama relating to that, you clearly have not read VT anywhere near enough.
No, this is true.
I love that absolute shithole.
Yeah, well, I don't do nearly as much social media as I used to. I don't use Reddit anymore, and I don't use Twitter either, and I've never used Facebook since, probably since the last decade, so I'm pretty much, aside from Discord, probably as far off the grid on social media as you could possibly get. So thankfully I tend to miss all the drama, baiting and things like that, so I get just the wholesome vibes,
Fair. Yeah, this is what happens when you max out Roboco's gun. You get this massive shot that can completely sweep things in front of you.
Ooh, big meaty ball.
Oh yes.
I'm sure Coroner will be most pleased that you are doing the diligence of vaporizing the I can't remember the fan name for her fellows, to be honest with you. But that's because it's a Japanese name, and I have a very hard time remembering Japanese names of more or less anything.
Yeah, but it's such an iconic design, isn't it? That you can immediately recognise that, yeah, that's Coroner's drawing.
Yep. But she's very good at, the prop humour. Going back to, what we like about VTubers in general. And Coroner's another one I'm very much quite fond of, and that is mostly because, it's actually 2 things. Mostly because her retro gaming, and I always found her taste to be rather good in that regard. She played Gynoog, for God's sakes, and I don't think anyone that I know personally even realizes that game exists. So, she got a lot of points from me in that one. She's easily memeable as well. Obviously, for a lot of people, they probably even found out about YouTubers because of the whole Ekin Boken thing.
Yeah. She's got a very... I don't know how best to describe it. She's got got a very likable and endearing personality that I think really, endears her to people.
Yeah, it's very... She's like one of those people that's like very difficult to dislike for like any reason whatsoever. So she's just wholesome, she's funny, she's clever, and like I said, in her use of prop humor. She'll just like drag out various things and just play around with them. I'll remember one stream she did recently, which was a off collab with Mio, where her model stopped moving, so she literally started putting like fake glasses on her and everything. She almost keeled over laughing. Amazing to watch. Like Coronet, when she gets into like proper laughs, is just it's food for the soul.
Yeah, and like basically anything that she's done with Akayo is perfect, isn't it? Like their dynamic together is just spot on.
Yep, wholesome energy, can't go wrong with it at all. So, going on to the subject of Japanese VTubers, obviously it's very difficult for us English-speaking plebs to like get a true appreciation as the Golden Yago makes his way around, being the absolute Giga Chad that he is. But obviously with the fact that we have like clippers and things like that, it makes it a little bit easier to sort of access the Japan side of the branch. And going by that, maybe not just by the clips, but obviously just by what you might have seen in general, like, are there any Japanese VTubers, maybe aside from Coronet, since we've already sort of spoken about it, that jump out at you as sort of like ones that you quite like, and perhaps maybe if you saw a clip of them, you'd be like, oh, it's this person, I quite like this person, let's see what they've been doing.
I really like Watame.
Watame, yes! Wholesome sheep!
Yeah, she's an absolute sweetheart, and especially when she starts talking little bits of English, like she's so adorable.
Yeah, definitely can't go wrong. She really is just wholesome as all hell, though. Like, you can tell that she really loves what she does, and like when the fans like come out and show like some kind of appreciation or anything like that, like a big event or anything like that, just seeing her just feeling so heartfelt about it, you know that she genuinely loves what she does.
Yeah, I also like Hachima. I know she's been on break for a little while. I think her most recent update is that she is getting better, thankfully, which I'm looking forward to her coming back, because she's just one of the OGs of Hololive, really. She's just got that. She was kind of what helped define VTubing as idol culture with a bit of its own spin on it, and like any bit of creative work that she's had a hand in turns out amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we talked a little bit earlier about how like VTubers quite commonly like to sort of like push the line. Hachima is one of those ones that put that very much as a textbook definition. She is the one that is perhaps the most reliably pushed the line as far as it can go and then some. Whether it's for better or worse is up to interpretation, obviously, but like she's gone way farther and beyond than most people would when it comes to sort of like pushing the boundaries of like what a VTuber or like even like a VTuber behind an idol corp can do or perhaps get away with even.
Well, it's just the fact that she's built on her own lore by herself, which I think has left a lot of an impression.
Oh yeah, I mean that's a big thing as well, like being able to sort of like come up with the whole thing of just like having like the split personality, that one like gets control for a while and then the other one comes along, and then you got like sort of like these gruesome sort of horror game sort of scenarios that play out. Like it honestly put her on the map for a lot of people, I think, when she really started leaning hard into that.
Yeah.
But I know, sometimes it got just a bit unsettling for me personally, but that's only because, you know, you're not used to seeing that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Of course, you're never going to know what is acceptable and what isn't until you sort of dare to try and push that boundary and say, okay, let's see where this goes.
Yeah.
But no, it is good to see that she is doing alright in the end, and obviously Leah's tweet is just the meme equivalent of going, I lived, bitch.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyone else that really jumps out at you?
I will say that if we're talking about the music side of things, Suicide is a fantastic singer, and like she's...
Yes.
Did you see the video she did on One Take, or the First Take I think it's called?
I don't think there are many people in the VTubing community that haven't seen that video, to be fair, but go on.
There were a couple, but the one that I really liked was her singing Stella Stella, just in one take like that. Such a fucking beautiful singing voice, I swear.
I mean, there's a reason why she's like up there with Calliope as like maybe like Cover Corp's like biggest names in terms of like their music side of things, especially. Because, I mean, obviously you've got people that are just amazing in general. Like, obviously, Watame is amazing with the singing and idol dancing sort of thing. And then you've got, like, Sora, who's obviously the OG for a reason. She's also great. And everyone else sort of has, like, their own styles and all that sort of malarkey. But, like, usually if you're speaking to someone with, like, any kind of experience, like, those are Calliope and Suisei are always, more often than not, the first two names that come up.
Basically, yeah.
But yeah, for me personally, I mean, Corone's great, Watame's obviously great as well, so really can't fault those choices as well. Who else can I think of that really jumps out at me from like the JP branch side of things? Nenechi and Botan are two that come to mind.
Fair.
I like those two. Nene is just lovably goofy, and I very much like that. And I love how much effort she puts into communicating with people. Like, even from, like, different languages. She's, like, always the one that you can reliably count on to, like, go, okay, I see some German fans in the chat. Maybe I should, like, try and say something to them. And she'll always try and go that little bit of an extra mile just to make as many people as humanly possible feel welcome. And that's something that is very, very tricky to do. But I appreciate that she's the sort that would literally take the time to do that.
I think the fact that a good handful of the JP VTubers in Hololive do speak at least a little bit of English is kind of what's helped cement them so heavily as like the big VTuber Corpo. Because it's like Coco had a big part of that because she sort of connected very heavily with like more English speaking humour and whatnot, and that kind of laid the groundwork for a lot of the other things that have happened since.
Indeed. Silverdew says, it's honestly amazing what goes into the industry because it's more than making a 3D model and hitting record. Rigging, designing. I generally hope people don't underestimate the amount of hard work and funds that go into the VTubing world. Oh, absolutely not. I don't think anybody who follows VTubing like with any kind of diligence would ever disagree with that statement. Especially if you follow someone like Iron Mouse that seems to go for like a new model every month.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like the amount of effort that like goes into the rigging and sort of thing. Oh yes, Giant Miko!
Yeah.
Love it.
Let's try to get to safety. This is
Mikodyne.
This mini boss here is why this section comes in handy and why I've mostly been staying here, because there's more places to hide here than there are in other parts of the stage here.
Anyway, before I went off on the tangent, just to put in perspective, like what sort of scratch you can expect with like a decent VTubing model. Like, if you wanted something that had like decent-ish face rigging and all that sort of thing and can capture like more intricate movements, you can easily spend well in excess of like 2,000 quid on something like that.
Oh, absolutely.
Something basic, you could probably expect to spend something like 500 or so. But if you want something that like goes really, 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 really ham, like you could be nearly looking at 5 figures for something like that. And you can tell that the work put in reflects the price, because they go as far as to sort of like almost rig like the little things that you can't see. Like sometimes they'll allow them to do like little hand gestures and things like that, and they'll like trigger things that sort of change like the facial expressions and what have you, like either certain commands or certain like twitches and things like that. And it's incredible just like how much work does actually go in, where we've gone from sort of having a pretty looking model that just goes to something that can actually properly follow like lip movements and be able to sort of present specific words and specific phrases and specific letters. Like, if you compare like a very early VTuber and then take a look at something like Shy Lily, for instance, like the sheer difference in quality is just absurd. And it just shows like how far people are going. And obviously because it's like a decently fresh market with a lot of enthusiastic people behind it leads to like all these quick developments and innovations that a lot of the time people take for granted. And Axel throwing in the one pop in the chat there. Thank you very much. Like, obviously Shy Lily isn't for everybody in terms of her content, but there's absolutely no denying that she easily has like one of the best models out there in terms of like what you can sort of express and represent with it.
Yeah, I'll say like that side of VTubing, like, you know, the more, I guess, normally VShojo adjacent kind of community on Twitch, not really my kind of thing. Like, I prefer the more, like, either idol adjacent stuff or the full idols. That's why I like the sort of culture around Hololive, around FaZe, around IdolCorp, that sort of community. But, like, you know, some of these girls are still going above and beyond doing cool things, so, you know, more power to them.
Absolutely, and I mean, it's part of the reason why I like to branch out, because obviously a lot of these girls, while they're not, like, sort of part and parcel of the idol thing, they're still doing, like, amazing stuff, and they, like, have even just, like, amazing models, they have really fun personalities, and, you know, they have, like, all these different backgrounds, and that's, like, the great thing about VTubing. There's such a huge variety now that you're bound to find someone that you like. Like, even if it's just for, like, the avatar and, like, having an appreciation for, like, how they're rigged or anything like that, or just, like, the personality of the person behind them. Like, Zentreya is, like, honestly one of my favorite VTubers out there, just in general, and that's just because of how unique she is, as well as, like, her 3D models being absolutely top-notch, and just how effectively she plays into, like, her chat and their shenanigans. Like, it all comes together to create just, like, a very, very fun to watch stream experience, and it's one that I find myself coming back to quite often.
Fair one. I'll say that, like, the TTS stuff doesn't really gel with me, but, you know, I am quite set in my ways for certain things.
Yeah, but the thing is with Zentreya as well, she wasn't always that, because way, way, way back, I'm talking like 5+ years ago at least, she was literally one of those VTubers that doesn't even use, like, text-to-speech. She usually uses speech-to-text, where it's sort of like, it will show, like, speech bubbles. So she didn't actually speak at all. And it wasn't until probably about 3 or more years ago that she actually started using text-to-speech. And then obviously she went through sort of, like, different variations. She went from, like, the sort of more sort of Russian-sounding to sort of something a bit more German, and eventually she sort of settled on, like, this sort of stereotypical sort of the female equivalent of Microsoft Sam, if you sort of know roughly what that's going to.
You recognise the voice if you hear it, that sort of voice.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, she plays into it so well, and it allows her to do things that other VTubers can't, by being able to just deliver just these insanely hilarious deadpan reactions to things. And obviously it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, because obviously it can obviously come across as a bit jarring, but honestly I think Zen's probably one of the most unique VTubers out there.
That's fair. So I'm just getting a little bit overwhelmed here, so I was cleaning it up.
No, I can see you're currently battling all of your inner demons simultaneously here, so I appreciate you holding it down at the same time.
Super Idol costume, reduce the special cooldown. Given how fucking broken Roboco special is, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same in Vampire Survivors, but generally speaking, cooldown reduction is just one of those things that's just insanely valuable.
Yeah.
It's just like one of those things that's like, even in RPGs in general, or MOBAs even, like, cooldown reduction is always considered like one of those stats that's just insanely powerful, so it stands to reason that it's seldom given out, but when it is given out, oh boy, do you go and get it!
I did see that Rooster Teeth are doing a VTuber series for the Ruby characters. I'm not sure how to feel about that, because the thing is that, although it is still character acting, doing that as improv is a very different skill set to, you know, like, just performing from a script, so I'm curious how well it will adapt there.
Yeah, I mean, that's something else that we can probably talk about, how, like, some VTubers, like, obviously with Hololive, etc., they come in with, like, a specific theme in mind, and obviously they play very deep into that when they debut. And then you tend to find that sometimes that after that period, they sort of start to mellow out a little bit. Not necessarily just scrap the whole thing entirely, but, you know, they relax it a bit, so it's more comfier for them. Because, you know, keeping up something like that is hard work. Like, you know how much of a difficult time actors can have with that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Imagining someone without, like, that sort of almost college degree experience go through, I mean, it can be tough.
I think the thing with VTuber lore is it's best when it's just like a bit of flavour to the stream, more so than, like, you know, hard kayfabe there. Because, like, you know, I don't mind it once it gets going, but like one of my pet hates with VTuber debuts is when there's like a fucking animatic that goes on for 20 fucking minutes and it's basically just animated fanfiction. And it's like, that's not what I want to see here. I want to get an impression of your personality to know whether I want to watch you more than anything else, you know?
Merryweather will remember that.
Alright, I've got a choice between collabs by the look of it. So, that, I can cross the Boy Love book with either the axe or the lava. Which one do you reckon I should do?
Go with the axe.
Okay. Alright. Now we get Endless BL, how shameless. Here we go. It's constantly going.
Noelle is pleased with this.
Does Roboco even have the parts to appreciate this?
Oh, I don't know. I've seen some tweets from her.
Oh.
No, I remember like the first time I got into VTubing. I just remember like one of the tweets is just like, you know how it's like the whole thing where you remember like when Amelia sort of debuted and she did the whole thing where she was like toying around with different ideas and came up with the whole feet on the desk thing.
Yeah.
I remember a tweet from Roboco was just like, hey, I wanted to join in on the whole feet appreciation thing as well. And it's just sort of like her just like completely sort of disrobed in like the traditional sense.
Yeah.
It's just like her weird sort of like bird talon feet. And it's just like
the robot feet.
Yep. It's just like, you think it's just like, oh yeah, some fan probably put this out because they're being horny fuckboys or whatever, and then just notice that it's just literally Roboco's official Twitter account. It's like, oh! Maybe they're just as degenerate as we are then.
Oh, it's like, you know the whole phrase of like, the chat reflects the streamer? I feel like there's a lot of that.
Yeah, no, you're probably onto something there. Like I say, a lot with like Centrea, like I was talking about earlier, with like being able to play off your chat very well. There's a lot of people in Hololive that are also very much like that as well. Like you get the chat almost sort of like dictates sort of like additional character traits for you to sort of assimilate almost, like with Mori being everyone's dad, for instance.
Yeah, that's the sort of thing that just kind of comes up in a stream. You can't really plan ahead for that kind of characterization.
And that's the nice thing about it as well, because you can plan out all this sort of thing, and then eventually, like, the chat just sort of comes up with something that just gels so well that you just think, how the hell didn't we think about this? And you just sort of play off of it, and all of a sudden, it's like a major part of your character, and it's like, all of a sudden, you just got this whole other dimension, and you can't help but feel like chat as like viewers and what have you, like it feels like they're actively contributing towards it. It's just like, hey, this is our streamer, and you know, and it feels more like theirs, and it sort of like helps enhance the experience.
Yeah, the whole family dynamic with Mori, Kiara, and Kobo is fucking fantastic.
And how Gura's been adopted by Muna and Kayla as well.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, Korone plays a lot off her chat as well. And Nene having everyone's husbands.
Yeah. Come on.
Another thing I quite like as well is that when EN sort of started debuting and obviously introduced like this whole dimension of sort of audiences, like anytime like a Japanese streamer just like wants to just make the chat explode, all they have to do is utter the phrase "Hey guys," and all of a sudden just the chat explodes like, "We have been summoned!"
Yeah.
Like that was always hilarious to see in like the early stages, or like when I started sort of following VTubers like somewhat on the regular. Like I'll still remember like the one polka thing where she's like trying to read someone taking the piss out of ever having a potato PC, and she's just like, hey guys, what does potato mean? It's just like, oh, crap PC, thank you. Shitheads. Which of course spawned a legendary animation by the name of Too Many Snacks, and his stuff is legendary. Definitely worth a watch if you haven't seen any, but I imagine some people have at least seen sort of like either the Ikenboken thing or the Gura talking about Lightning McQueen, and you know, deadass going, was he in Kingdom Hearts as well?
The frame rate is not liking the office employees.
It's alright, you got 30 more seconds. You can survive. Bitrate be damned. These were all the extras that got killed in the making of the various holographs that they've been involved in.
Oh, some of them are great, yeah. Like the one, I saw Mermaid's one a little while ago with the photocopier, and it's just like, that is on point for her humour, it just lands so well.
I think the holograms as well is what kind of helped cement Ayame for a lot of people as well. Like the whole Yodayo thing just exploded in popularity, and just suddenly everybody knows about them in some capacity.
Yeah.
But of course, a lot of people will of course stay for the wholesome giggles, and it's just like, oh god, like this should be like borderline drugs. But Botan's very similar in that she just has a laugh that's just insanely addictive to listen to.
Alright, here we go, it's the stage boss. It's A-chan.
Oh yes! You've stayed out past office hours. You're due for overtime!
Let's try and buff myself a bit, and...
I like how Achan as well has sort of become sort of part of the group as well in varying degrees. Like, a lot for EN as well, but I think just in general now that she's sort of just... She's also become part of, like, the entire sort of, like, VTubing thing as well, like, almost inadvertently in a way. She was sort of always meant to sort of be the background character, and then all of a sudden she sort of finds herself in the foreground a lot of the time.
Yeah, she's just got that... It's because she's been on stream with the other girls, and she sort of built up that dynamic with them, that it just endears people to her.
And for some people I think it's probably like, oh boy, office lady VTuber!
That too. There we go.
There we go, stage your completo.
Alright, I know who I want to pick for the third stage, the Halloween level.
Yep, go for it.
Gotta be, innit?
Yep, has to be. I mean, Mel would have been a decent option as well, so...
Okay, so Hachima's gimmick here is that when her special, you swap between Akihito and Hachima, and so it's depends on whether you want like a more defensive style of play or a more offensive style of play. So like obviously the black hearts do more damage, but when you're in her idol form, you're more defensive and I think a little bit faster.
So one of those things, do you want to be lawful good or chaotic evil?
Yeah.
I'll finish second stage, Danmaku style.
So yeah, one thing I haven't talked about yet is all these stage themes, the music themes, are remixes of like different Hololive songs. And this one is from the Halloween song on the main channel that is actually pretty fucking good.
It is a banger. But then again, they're all bangers. Like, even like Suspect in like the whole chiptune sort of thing is insanely good. Love it.
It just works with this kind of game so well.
Yeah, like it's definitely more sort of light-hearted. Well, I say Vampire Survivors. I say that like Vampire Survivors isn't light-hearted. Like, it's not exactly light-hearted in the traditional sense, but it's very much tongue-in-cheek. Like, it's very aware of what it is and just like all the dumb things that it puts in there. Like, it even put the pizza pasta, put it in a box song as its credits theme, for God's sake. So I can't remember if this one is an infinite looping one or if this is like just sort of taking place within like an arena almost.
Oh, this is a small light box shaped stage. So there are edges. You can get cornered if you're not careful. So you do need to be careful about that. And I need a swig of drink before I go on.
No, you've been done well so far. Get yourself hydrated. And also note to the chat, stay hydrated.
That too, yep. Alright.
That's the thing all the popular streamers like to do, right? Remind you to just drink your fucking water before you fucking die, you fucking jackasses.
Yeah.
I like how the exclamation mark hydrate is just literally plugging the channel. It's just like, this is the only water you need.
Yeah, Spar keeps an eye on all our prompts, so if there's any that's missing, it's him you want to take it up with.
Yeah, it's all Spar's fault. As usual.
Nah.
Axel's trying desperately. I don't think there is actually such an option.
Nah.
I'm going to be honest. Surrender is the cause. But the thing is, as much as that is the case, Spar is also the solution. And truth be told, I think a lot of us would be lost without him.
Yeah, Spar goes above and beyond with these marathons. Like, the amount of runs that he puts himself down for and, like, takes over co-com slots just so, like, you know, we're always covered. Like, the man goes above and beyond for these events.
That he do. Oh, we're very nearly ready to do the switcheroo, are we?
Well, I've been sort of alternating just depending on what I need at a given time, but I also sometimes just inherently do it naturally, just because, like, with any of the other characters you see special, you see that you're a bit crowded and you think, oh yeah, this will sort out the problem.
Yeah, this is a nuke everything button,
Yeah.
whereas with her it's a lot different. You just literally hold shift.
Yeah.
Still not quite as just abruptly scary as Muei's one, but, you know, it's up there.
Yeah, Moonmo's one is great.
It's like, scary face!
Let's get me Black Hearts going again, do some extra damage. I don't know if Faxel will get it, considering we don't have one.
Muei in general is great. Yeah, she's pretty good.
Yeah, I like Mume. She's another one who's got a really nice singing voice.
But she is also as delightfully cursed as some of the other folks out there, which is fantastic. She's one of those ones that are very much directed by their intrusive thoughts sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
It's always fun though, just like seeing the various degrees of sort of like VTubers going, ooh, I thought that a thing. Ooh, I probably shouldn't say that. People will think I'm weird, and then just people just lean fully into it.
Like, that's the best way to approach it though, isn't it? It's just like, if you just own whatever's going on up there, then, you know, you can make a show of it.
Yeah, but I like as well as you sort of like get to know like the Hololive one specifically. Sort of like get this idea of a spectrum in your head. So obviously you've got like the very much sort of well-to-do, like they're the ones that obviously have good control over their lives, like Sora and Aki and people like that. And then you got the ones that are sort of like sometimes unhinged, but not always. And then you got the other ones that are just like, there is not a single ounce of restraint in this person whatsoever.
Yeah, it's like the mouth working faster than the brain sometimes, isn't it?
Yep. Or just going, brain says no, but mouth says I don't care.
Yeah.
The world must know.
To be fair, like, anyone who streams a lot is gonna have moments like that, where it's just like, something's taken over here.
Yep. It was just like, you know what would make the chat go absolutely nuts? Sometimes it's just a case of like prodding the bee's nest and just watching the chat just go, huh?
Yeah.
It's always funny just when they say anything that's like remotely lewd or weird and just see the chat go, hey, yo! Just almost without fail. It's like, the chat has been conditioned to react in certain ways. Just like over the years, like pretty soon they can be manipulated into reacting to anything they want. In the way that they want them to.
Yep, I'm having to readapt to Hachima's playstyle, and I'm getting ganged up on a lot more than I was expecting.
Poor Yagu's got a spider on his head. Free him. Free him immediately.
That's one of the abilities that I've picked up in the fact that the Black Heart poisons the other, like, the enemies.
Yeah, I do like what they do here compared to something like Vampire Survivors, where they have, like, very much unique items for like specific people, as well as obviously a general pool as well. So you can obviously lean super hard into like a specific character, or obviously like find a good like mix and match to sort of figure out a build that destroys the world.
Yeah, like you get a few rerolls. Like, I've unlocked a few rerolls here, so there is a little bit of luck here as to whether you get good picks, but by buying more rerolls you do get a bit more control over it.
Zacton brings up a good point. Bay is a zoomer that hurts so many boomers, like not knowing what Teen Titans is, or not knowing Sonic started as a game, not as a TV show.
Oh yeah, I've seen some of the clips of her just being completely blindsided by things, and it does sort of hit like that sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes you don't know if she's like putting it on at this point, or if she legitimately doesn't, because there's so much stuff that you just sort of think, wait a minute, surely she does know. Like, this has to be like a bit, right? But obviously, for those who don't know, that whole thing started when Bay and Vesper did a collab. And the theme of the collab was a Boomer versus Zoomer stream, where Vesper would come with a bunch of Boomer things that Bay would have to try and guess either what they are or what their purpose is. And obviously Bay would do the same thing, but obviously with Zoomer stuff, like the sort of thing you'd see randomly on like TikTok or anything like that. And Nobody won, but I'm pretty sure Vesper still lost.
Basically.
Because Vesper had to be introduced to the likes of hitting the woe. I love his reaction to it. Just like, God, there's even old people doing it. Have some dignity, man. And obviously, like, Vesper trying to explain, like, SCART leads and things like that. And he goes on about how, oh yeah, you have to, like, connect it up to a VCR. And then Vay just goes, what's a VCR?
Yeah, it's always like one
dead silence
step
for like 30 seconds. Just like, crap, I should have put VCR on there.
Yeah, it's like when the expectations aren't even met, you know?
It did introduce something, though, when Vesper tried to put through the Heelys, and Bay just knew what they were instantly, and then they got into a whole conversation about Heelys versus soaps.
Oh, God, yeah.
And obviously, the Sonic Adventure 2 fans will go with soaps.
Oh,
so,
of course,
you know,
yeah, absolutely.
That's how you know Vesper's one of your people, if he references soaps.
Yeah.
And then I just immediately think back to the Sonic Frontier stream when Magni tries to put all his points in defense and just gets immediately shithoused.
I did see that clip, yeah.
Oh, it's so funny.
Yeah, Magni also did a cover of Escape from the City that's not bad.
Yeah, he's got good logs on him, that man.
Like, I know he mentioned that like he's quite new to singing and it took him quite a while to get his voice to a point where he could do that song because it's like a particularly difficult song to sing, but I think given that context he really didn't do bad at all.
Yeah, that's the thing with songs, like, not necessarily very similar to Escape from the City, but like a lot of songs in general where it's sort of like, obviously they have like these weird soulful versions where it's like, together we can do the thing, and obviously it's like sung in such a way when you try to actually sing it seriously it sounds fine, but when you're sort of like doing that sort of like mumbly singing to yourself and you try to do its high notes, it just sounds like you're sort of like opening a creaky doorway or something. And you just sort of mire yourself in cringe, and it's just like, why the fuck did I do that?
Yeah, it's like you do it and then it's like too late to take that back now, isn't it?
Yep. The only saving grace is that nobody else was around to hear it.
Or at least you hope so.
Yes, until you realise your neighbours have been listening in this whole time and are wondering how they can get the police to evict you. But no, it's like the whole thing, like, it's a dimension of singing that people don't really consider a lot of the time. Like, actually being able to sing properly like that and like hit those notes without sort of having your voice box just completely give out on you. Like, that's something you have to train yourself to do over time. If it's not something that you used to like doing like outside of like casual singing and karaoke and the like, it can be difficult to sort of train yourself to be that way. So obviously you got like VTubers, especially in Hololive, that don't necessarily have a lot of experience in that regard. And obviously they go in with like the whole goal of like, ooh, I'd very much like to learn how to sing. And obviously it takes a while because there's a lot that goes into it, especially if you want to try and sing good.
Yeah.
Obviously, anyone can really sing in like a halfway decent capacity if they like put more than a couple of weeks of effort into it. But it's more like singing good to a point where you can sort of like come out with like an MV or something like that. That's where it gets tricky.
Singing in a way that will sound good on a record is also very different to just singing like as a performance. And I feel like that's something that people who don't have experience with that probably do take a while to have to learn to adapt to. It's like there is like a degree of production that goes on, and a lot of like part of the reason a lot of VTuber songs tend to be like the electronic pop stuff is because it's easier to mix like electronically processed vocals against that, and I understand that.
Yeah.
But even then, like you see, you need to have that level of charisma in your voice at the very least for that to still be good to listen to.
Not just that, but also good fundamentals. Like, being able to do things in post can only go so far, and the degree in which you have to work to make it usable will vary depending on how well or how not good. Oh, yes, big, muscly Shuba.
Yeah, we got the Shivery Duck.
Which is great because I can also now mention Subaru, who is also just generally amazing, and she is just fantastic. Also, just the fact that it's just sort of like, she just started out as just regular ass human, just like, no, that's clearly a duck. I am not a duck!
Yeah, it's like, eventually people kept bringing that up and she just decided to roll with it.
Yep, to the point now that the Scuba Duck is now also just straight up a mascot at HoloFest that appears every now and again, and she also has done the duck dance as well, which is fantastic. Also, Scuba is like one of those ones that's just like, need tomboy, and it's just like, hold up, I got you, fam. But no, Subaru is like one of those ones that's just like, she obviously comes across as like very tomboyish and like her voice and things like that. And yet she'll just have some moments of just absolute immaculate femininity that it just completely throws you off.
Yeah.
Like there's one very famous, well I say very famous, I mean famous in the context of Hololive clips, where it's just literally a like 15-second clip of Subaru sitting down. And somehow this clip got something like 2.6 million views or something like that. It might even be approaching 3 million at this point. But it's literally just because she comes across as just like this outrageous tomboy, and then she just sits like an absolute princess.
Yeah.
And just everybody simultaneously lost their goddamn minds. Like there's some kind of insane like awakening that just took place there. Just like, wait, do I like tomboys that like act effeminately? Is this a new thing? It's like they've uncovered the secrets to El Dorado or something in that instance. It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I think the thing that, like, even if you don't watch Hololive, at some point you've probably seen like the Hey Ya animation with her and the dark. And like, I really liked when she was on Kiara's 3D debut, and they recreated that shot for shot. Like,
yes.
That was great.
So good. But yeah, like the reason why, for those who don't know, that Subaru got the whole like duck motif thing is that obviously she has like a very sort of like, I wouldn't say like entirely masculine voice, but you know, she has like sort of one of the more lower tone voices. And when she gets like particularly excited or like angry or anything like that, it suddenly goes into this whole rats be bringing like that sort of thing. It sounds very, very much like Donald Duck throwing a fit, but you can actually understand half of what he's saying.
And it works with her design as well, doesn't it? Because like, yeah, she's a sports player, but with that cap, you know, silhouette kind of covers it.
Yep. That is a duck bill. You can't tell me otherwise.
Yeah.
It was all planned from the very beginning.
Yeah, I've been trying to boost up me spider cooking, because that, with Hachima's other special ability that I've been picking up, it boosts it by quite a bit.
Yeah.
Oh, you can talk about the terrifying aspects of ducks if you'd like.
Yeah, that's not a conversation I'm going to be joining in personally.
Oh, wait, you're not a fan of corkscrews?
Not mostly. I was going to say, if you're really that into it, there's probably a dojin somewhere.
Oh, definitely.
There's a dojin for every weird taste out there. You know what, I'm not going to judge, at least not in front of you.
So anyway, on a completely different subject, what do you think about these 6 numbers?
Oh, just like, that's just my phone number. It's just someone quivering in fear under the table. It's just like, what the hell's up with you? Just like,
Yeah.
I know forbidden things. I can never take back what I've seen. You know, just imagine somebody like getting like a new phone. They see the phone number, like immediately start having Vietnam PTSD flashbacks. So, can I get a different number, please? Just like, why? No reason. just give me something else. All right. So, what are we being assailed by currently in terms of mascots?
I think there's a lot of Shion's ones following me now.
Yeah, like the very much W-faced Katos are showing up. I can't remember if that's a Shion one or not. Like, there are some, like, Hololive people that sort of, like, have a vague approximation of a mascot, but it was never something that they, like, fully leaned in on. Like, Noelle's, like, a good example, where she sort of, like, has sort of, like, knights as her thing. Like, a proper sort of mascot design I don't think was ever sort of fully established. So people just go with sort of like what their closest approximation would be, like what would really fit sort of that sort of character.
It's like sometimes you just find something and make it work, don't you?
Yeah, like some people come in with something and it just instantly jives and it's like absolutely amazing. Then you have people like Corday that just sort of designs her own thing and that just eventually catches on. And then you have someone else who like comes up with their own thing and eventually like maybe it's so popular that it just eventually gets adopted by them and just like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, that can be a mascot. You know, that looks good to me. You can have that. Oh, elite cooking. Mystery Food X.
Yeah, this is gonna be terrifying.
I'll never forget Mystery Food X. One of those moments where I first discovered Persona 4. And at that moment, I realized Japan exists.
Oh, Japan, is that a Persona reference?
Oh my god, is that Shinjuku? I remember that from Persona. I can't believe they made it real. It's like the Olive Garden memes, but like infinitely cringier.
Oh yeah. Snowflower Sake. Oh, I remember this collab.
Oh, this is the play on Lammy making her own alcohol. Which actually apparently did really well. It actually got a couple of rewards.
Oh, cool.
If I remember rightly. I can't remember exactly which ones they were, but it is a award-winning brew. And it's sort of another example of like one of those things where it's just like you get something that you just lean into, and I think with Lamy it's sort of like the ice power things. I don't think it's something they necessarily started with, but it's sort of something that sort of became adopted sort of over time, and obviously it was something that they used in the Holo Alts MV that they released about a year or so ago.
Yeah, I think so.
I can't remember exactly when it was, but it was the one where they had like the Myth members show up in there, which I think was like one of the first times they showed up alongside JP in like big promotional MD material like that.
Bulk up the plushie a little bit, I reckon.
TC, one of the first things that comes to mind with Persona is the sign in Strikers which said very, very yummy hamburger. You see, when you say that, I always think back to the Phoenix Wright games for some reason, where it's just like, hey, it's Japanese stuff, but we're going to fill it with hamburgers and hot dogs and all those things that those Western audiences know about. And it just does not fit whatsoever, but, you know, it's Phoenix Wright, so you just roll with whatever weird bullshit they come up with.
Like, was it Pakura, I think, who she was playing that trombone game and she was playing the American National Anthem and she just, out of nowhere, just starts saying, ooh, hamburger.
I think you might be right.
I think it was Pakura, I might be wrong there.
It may well be, it sounds similar. The official Mr. Nib says, I was not aware there was another charity stream going. Yes, there are many like it, but this one is ours. And on that note, let us segue to a description of what the hell we are doing here.
Yeah, it's been
we are here to celebrate the 50th anniversary of our dear commentary group. And we are here today to raise money for Child's Play, a games industry charity dedicated to improving the lives of children and teens in children's hospitals across the world. And you know we'd like that because that means we Brits will probably benefit from it as well, which is always nice. And yep, they're just there to try and make hospital stays as pleasant as you possibly can do by providing video game consoles, games, and all that there fun stuff for people to enjoy during the stay in their hospitals. And especially for a child, that sort of thing can be a bit jarring, so having neat little distractions like that is always good. And when it comes to video games, it's something that we believe in very much so. So the more we can get into hospitals, the better.
Absolutely.
Or the quicker to take over the world with.
Now these are Shion's ones, the ones that are shooting these bullet hell weapons out at me.
Oh, I didn't realise we were playing Toho this stream.
Well, it's kind of weird, isn't it? Because like this genre of game, I've seen a lot of people describe it as like a reverse bullet hell. And
yeah,
it's stuff like this that sort of doubles that down, really, isn't it?
Absolutely. You are the bullet hell.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, I think this game doesn't play into it like as hard as Vampire Survivors does. Like, I know in Vampire Survivors you get like screen-filling bullshit like pretty quickly. Like, especially if you like advance like eggs and things like that. But in this game, I think it's a little bit more subdued, which probably lends it into its favor because like a lot of the game is about what it's trying to represent visually. And you don't want that covered up with particle effects up the wazoo.
Well, some of the collab animations do get a little bit that way, so maybe hold your breath on that one.
Maybe so. Axel says he just realized there's no Toho game in the marathon. Unfortunately, none of us are really super fans of the genre. Like, I have a small amount of experience because back when I was in my degree earning days, I found a way to put Imperishable Night onto an MP3 player, and I just plugged that into the college computers, and then I could just play it off of there, even though they are the crappiest things known to man. And I actually managed to, like, beat the entire thing, including the extra stage, quite handily. But of course, that was 16 years ago now, I think? Yeah, about 16 years ago. I get the feeling the skills held from that probably don't factor in now, and probably never will. But, you know, they're good games, just I don't think it's something that I really felt sort of immediately compelled to sort of throw into a marathon setting, because, you know, the whole point of the All-Stars Marathon was not so much follow a theme this time, but to make it about the people behind a group, and to sort of have their favourite experiences and their favourite games be the driving force behind, obviously, what we are doing this year.
Yeah, that's why you get my weeb shit.
There you go, is what you're about.
Yeah, like, I did consider doing a few other games. There were some that I thought would be fitting under that measure, but also we've done recently either as, you know, like random things on the channel, or like, especially doing this the year after the Sonic-a-thon. Like, if it wasn't for that, there would have been quite a few Sonic games in here rather than just the one final incentive. But yeah, if we do manage to get to $5,000, then Tom will be playing Sonic Frontiers on the final day of the marathon. That's obviously like quite a big ask, but you know, if we can get there, that'd be really cool.
We're coming up towards the third boss of our little raunt here in HoloCure. I just hope no one will be afraid, because the third level boss will make you go scream, according to Sailor Popstar here. Oh, well, we'll just wait and see. I don't think I've actually seen this one yet, so we'll have to see if I get jump scared on this one.
My performance is not liking all this shit happening. This might be the most cinematic HoloCure experience I've had yet.
Along came a spider, many spiders, who sat down beside her and said, "Give me your goddamn bitrate, you don't need this anyway."
Alright, come on, spider. It's incoming.
Here we go. I think I kind of know what's coming up. Like, there's a specific piece of fan art that I recall.
There you go.
Yep, that's exactly what I was imagining. Why the fuck is it naked? The one I remember had clothes.
Yeah, but we gotta get a little bit creative here. And there's more of your bullet hell antics.
Well, I suppose this is meant to be sort of inspired from the same person who literally reviewed her own hentai, so, you know, I probably should expect it. I will still sort of remember that, just like, she actually got through with this, but nowadays it's like, I don't know, we had a bit of a reprieve from that, and then of course Bay came along and said, "I want to stream genital jousting," and everyone just sort of thought,
Christ, yeah.
Okay, what's the worst that could happen? And they probably didn't know what they were getting themselves into. In fact, the fact that only the Australians in the company were willing to play it should say a lot. The fact that only Bay and Axel touched that should say something.
Yeah. Well, no, I did see that a few of them have played that one hentai game that the art sister for Marine's in, that goes quite extreme. I saw the clips of Callie playing it and desperately trying to pull up a sensor on screen, like whenever something a bit too risque shows up.
Oh, you mean doing so and then failing miserably?
Yeah. Oh god, it was like where she'd got one ready in place, hit it, and then realised that there was a nipple coming out like underneath the text box.
I love it when Callie just goes into full disaster mode and she's just struggling as all hell just to try and salvage whatever's going on. I mean, I can't help but feel sorry for her all the same, but it's so hilarious at the same time. It's just like, oh, I'm so glad that's not me, sort of thing.
Yeah. Alright, so we're going to go into the hard mode for the first level now. Got any preferences on who to play?
Let's go ahead. You know what? As much as I like to think Sana, just in terms of obviously she's graduated and all that, it's nice to give her some love, I think Aki is more than deserving of some love as well, so make it Aki.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Get some belly dancing in there.
Now, this is the point where I might not necessarily beat the stage, but I will try my best, because some of these do get brutal.
And Bonk is a degenerate like Flame, as we've learned in this stream. Hey, I just know things, okay?
No, Folk, I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, I'm more than comfortable with what and who I am.
So yeah, we're revisiting the first stage. It swarms in a lot quicker, and you've got to be careful. So I'm gonna prioritize getting some health-related things and some defense-related things, because you will need them.
Yeah, I think that kind of goes part and parcel with how Vampire Survivors tends to do it. It's like, eventually you get to a point where you just need to, get yourself out of tight situations. Of course, contact damage, drains your health really quickly. So obviously you need something that lets you, regenerate health over time, or provides more healing items either way before you start going for, hyper offense.
I have a feeling these chicken feathers that I've just picked up will help, because they're the free revives. They can help if you get completely swarmed. Not only do they revive you, but also they clear the screen temporarily. I'm just deciding which one to go with here. Let's see. Let's just boost the standard attack, because these enemies, they will take a lot more of a beating than the ones from the first stage.
That's something I quite liked about Aki's design, and that she sort of has the floating hair thingies. I always found that really, really fun.
Oh shit, I am getting completely...
Oh!
Yeah, I need to be careful.
Yeah, you nearly got joned there.
Yeah, so this is what I mean about the hard mode levels. I'm gonna just stall for a little bit until, I've filled up.
Yep, it's time to initiate the Survivors part of Vampire Survivors clone. And we got a first time chat from AKA Brander. Welcome. I'm surprised you didn't take the horn there. You were just talking about HP regen.
Yeah, the horn is good. I think I just sort of mentally skipped over it, which I do sometimes.
I mean, sometimes you are perfectly aware of something you might need, but then something comes up and it's just like, ooh, this is good, and you just immediately grab it. There'll be times in Vampire Survivors especially where I'm just like, I really need something that will help me survive these next couple of waves, and then I'll be just like, oh, I got the final level for my weapon, I can evolve that later on. Boop! And I just ignore the thing entirely, and then I'm just immediately regretting it later on.
Yeah, it is literally the Ushiny thing. Let's see, while moving, gain 1 stack of belly dance per second. Yes, I remember this being useful actually.
Yes. Obviously, standing still is not always recommended in these sorts of games, but, sometimes characters lean very much heavily into it. Like in Vampire Survivors, there's a character that is literally a tree and does not move.
Huh. Oh yeah, well, I think I know the thing you're talking about.
Yeah, I think they put it in the game because eventually it got to a point where people making Vampire Survivors content decided, can you beat this game without moving? Actually doing so, and then people going, alright, you know what, if you want this so badly here, just take an entire tree as a character, have fun.
Stand still. There we go. There's the belly dance.
Damo says, why do I feel like if I get Vampire Survivors, I'm going to regret it? Because it is a dopamine farm and you will never recover financially. Although I say that, I only say recover financially in the figurative sense. In the literal sense, the game is £3. You cannot go wrong with that. Especially for the 200 or so hours of gameplay I've gotten out of it.
Not to mention that if you've got an Xbox, it's on Game Pass as well, so you can just get the base game for free and just buy the DLC if you want it.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, the DLC is pretty great too. It adds a lot of content compared to some of the regular updates they've done over time, and obviously it adds new music and everything else like that. Their most recent DLC pack literally adds normal music, but then they make kazoo remixes of all the themes in the DLC.
Beautiful.
Oh, it's pretty damn great. But I like how Vampire Survivors isn't afraid to just get really loopy. If you buy the game and start playing through it, it seems really normal and unassuming, but then later on it starts doing some really, really weird stuff. But I won't go any further in depth than that because that would spoil a lot of it. And I would like for that to be an authentic experience for those who have not had the chance to experience it yet.
Very fair.
It's the only trouble with the internet being as big as it is. even so much as look in the general direction of something, and then before you know it, all your YouTube recommendations are spammed with it, and you've been spoiled the entire story just from the thumbnails.
Yeah, you go listen to a song from a game, you look over on the side, and there's
Final boss! Yeah, so surprising! 50 million views, lol.
X character death scene.
Yeah, those are the absolute worst. Like, fuck those guys, seriously.
Yeah, I'll take the horn this time, that'll probably come in handy.
Yeah. But no, I definitely recommend Vampire Survivors. I mean, it's, you know, it's one of the... There's obviously a lot of games like it out there at this point that could arguably be seen as, like, better, but that's only because Vampire Survivors was there to actually conceive the idea to begin with. And to its credit, it still does what it does insanely well. Like,
Yeah.
there's not very many, even, like, the ones that decide to try and come in and try and offer their own spin on it, don't really come close to what Vampire Survivors offers as a whole. But, of course, then you've got games like HoloCure, which are very much passion projects that do exactly that. And then you've got Halls of Torment, which came out recently, which plays very much into the more serious Diablo 2 motif, so that's more your thing. Halls of Torment might be what you're looking for. Like, it very much plays like what you would think, like, Diablo 2 would be, but it's like Vampire Survivors in the sense that you're, like, automatically firing shit. So, like, you're going around, like, set worlds and, like, accepting quests and things like that, and you're going around. It's very, very, very neat. Like, I've been tempted to pick it up. It's still on sale at the moment, so I've got some time to consider it, but Armored Core 6 is coming out in a couple of weeks, and that is going to consume my life, and I have absolutely no regrets in this.
Yeah, I've kind of put a pause on everything I've been doing, like, just while the marathon's on, because I like to, you know, commit myself entirely to these things, but I have got some things ongoing that... No, I've been playing through Final Fantasy 16, which is fantastic from where I'm up to so far. And, like, you know, there's a few other games that I want to get around to. I want to play Chrono Trigger for myself, finally, because it's one of them games that I've been wanting to get to for years, and now I've got a space in my schedule for it, like my FC playthrough schedule. Just, like, a lot of things that I want to fit in, you know?
Yeah, I'm more or less the same, like, albeit slightly differently in terms of games. Like, obviously I've got Baldur's Gate 3, which I want to play through, but I want to do that when I've got decent time to do so, and I'm not, like, hyper-focused on other things. Like, Armored Core 6 is, like, a huge thing for me, so I want to really dedicate myself to that for as much as I feel like I want to. And then when I've got that out of my system, I can go back to finishing Final Fantasy 16, I can start playing Baldur's Gate 3, I can start looking at some of the other Pokemon adjacent games I haven't played yet, like Monster Crown. I can look into some of the other, like, factory building sims. There's a lot there that I want to try, and obviously there's just not enough time in the day to do so a lot of the time.
Yeah, like, it is playing video games is literally my full-time job, and I still don't have enough hours in the day to play everything I want to play.
Yep, we're in a golden age where there's, like, actually video games we want to play and not enough time to do so, rather than the opposite being true, because people are corporate scum sometimes. Well, sometimes, most of the time.
Well, like, I'm very fortunate, like, during the marathon I got a lot of stuff coming up. Like, you know, I'm going to be replaying Slipstream for the marathon, going to be replaying Spark the Electric Jester 3, both fantastic games. So, you know, like, I've got plenty to keep me mind on for the time being. This is getting a bit hairy.
Yep, well, you're doing good so far. I mean, considering this is hard mode, you've gone past the 6-minute mark. That's good. That's progress. And thank you, Mr. Nibs, for your Prime subscription. Of course, we should probably remind that the donations are the only way that we are currently accepting for the sake of the marathon. So obviously, subscriptions won't go towards that, but they are still very much appreciated, especially if you are enjoying the content. There is definitely more to come. More charity stuff yet to come, and obviously more streams to come as well throughout the year. Is it safe to say that Samurai Snake is still, like, the majority streamer dude for you guys?
Pretty much, yeah. Snake streams several times a week. I know Spar's been doing some stuff as and when he's available to do some stuff. And obviously Tom started his own 16 stream playthrough before the marathon. He said he's going to be getting back to that after the marathon. So yeah, there's a fair bit coming up on the stream.
Yep, it's the advantage of having many members. They can obviously do lots of stuff. And make sure that there is stream time for most of the time. Obviously not all the time, because that's still unreasonable. I mean, for God's sake, people have lives to live. Whether they want to or not is another question entirely. It's just like, I don't want to work, I want to play video games!
Despite having so many of us, we still can't keep a schedule for shit, but that's its own thing. That's kind of part of the group's identity at this point.
Yep. We just lead into it, it's fine. Like, gorilla streams forever.
Basically.
All hail Harambe.
Christ.
Yeah, Axel's also doing some stuff on the side. He did some randomizer showcases, so there might well be more of that in the future, or whatever Axel feels like streaming.
Yeah, we've got a few of those up on the YouTube channel. We also did start putting up the stream archives from this marathon. This morning, actually, we put up the neon white one. Tomorrow's YouTube upload is going to be Tom's reaction to Pokemon literally putting you to sleep, the presentation, and then after that we're going back to like daily uploads of the streams as they've happened.
I watched most of that as well and felt like that. The majority of my time was not well spent. And then Raikou came along and I was just like, why the fuck did you do that?
Yeah.
He's like, I know what they were going for, like this whole thing. Oh yeah, he's like a Brachiosaurus. And it's just like, no, it's a fucking giraffe. Like, a Brachiosaur generally involves having, like, sharp teeth and pointy bits, and, you know, generally being very big and imposing. What you've done is you've just made a fluffy giraffe with lightning bolts painted on the side.
I quite liked the not Suicune design. I went out of my way to catch that in Scarlet, but yeah, no, like, Raikou doesn't quite live up to that, and I'm kind of worried what they're going to do to my boy Entei.
I don't know, I think Entei might be relatively safe, because, you know, he's pretty feral looking to begin with. So, you know, you don't have to go too much further to sort of give it sort of dinosaur aesthetics. Like, Suicune obviously didn't look that feral, but they still managed to make it look, you know, very much raptor-like, and, you know, it works. I just feel like with Raikou, just at least from the initial, what we've seen so far, it's just so very much missed the mark. It just looks silly.
Yeah, like, maybe seeing it more in action and I'll get used to it, but I'm not too optimistic. There's quite a lot of the Gen 9 designs that just don't really land for me. And like, there's a lot of Gen 9 in general that don't land for me. It's probably the weakest main series Pokemon game, but your mileage may vary on that one.
They was pointing out that somebody made designs for Entei and Raikou a few months back, and Raikou was very similar to what we got. Entei might end up like a Triceratops, like with that design. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
Pokemon putting out character designs that look oddly similar to fan projects. Haven't seen that before. I have seen exactly that before.
Yeah. And saying as well that Entei might go full T-Rex. I don't know, I doubt it. Oh, we got the double boss now. We got the Foobzilla and we got Small Ammo. So
yeah.
Obviously they're throwing you into deep. But also Foobzilla learn how to aim.
That's kind of what makes this one much more difficult than the other one.
Yeah, no longer is Foobzilla restricted to shooting left and shooting right. Foobzilla now has all the dimensions at their disposal.
God, the performance is really struggling here.
It's doing better, at the very least. But yeah, this is like one of those situations where it's more better to focus on dodging than actually doing damage. Because one of these things is like, just the nature of the game. Things are flying everywhere. It's a given you're going to do damage eventually. So, you know, sometimes you just got to take your time with it.
Basically, yeah, like, as long as I'm dodging the big attacks, I do have 3 revives now, so I've got a little bit of leeway, but still, I'd rather just be careful.
Yeah, I mean, no point in wasting them if you don't have to. I mean, they might be there, but they're there as a stopgap to you sucking temporarily.
Yeah. Yeah, quote-unquote fan projects, not those kinds, thankfully.
Yes. I think the only, like, real, like, fan project that I remember, like, properly immersing myself in was Pokemon Uranium. That was a good time.
Like, yeah, I remember that getting quite a lot of attention when it came out. I was somewhat involved with a unfortunately failed fan project called Pokemon Campsite back in the day, which had some really cool designs, which I'm kind of still a little bit upset never came to fruition because of it, but also it had a lot going against it with like staff constantly being busy and things. But we get a collab here. It's combined water with the Boys Love book.
And this will digivolve into
shooting
Frozen Sea.
Ice everywhere.
Oh, dear me.
Nah, this is good shit. Like, obviously, the game's gonna struggle with it, but it's good shit.
Yep, indeed.
Let's see. Let's get some of the lava as well, just to fuck things up even more.
Yep, always a good idea, especially if you're running around a lot. Just being able to put puddles everywhere is a good thing. Speaking of Pokemon fan projects, have you had any experience with this Infinite Fusion thing that came out somewhat recently? Or if it's not somewhat recently, it's certainly been making waves somewhat recently.
I haven't played it myself. I haven't looked much into it, but I've seen a few people talking about it. Like, I sort of see a lot of Pokemon fan games in passing more than anything, because like someone will make a thread on VP that's usually bait, but you sort of get the idea. Yeah, that's kind of where I see most Pokemon fan stuff these days.
No, fair enough. I mean, for me, I always just look for like Pokemon style games these days rather than looking for Pokemon fan games, because, you know, I felt like I got burned a bit with Scarlet and Violet, and obviously Sword and Shield didn't really do much to, like, really blow my socks off either, so pretty much ever since then I've been looking at other games that sort of try and aim to do something similar to what Pokemon does, but also put their own spell on it or try and enhance the experience in a multitude of ways. So it got me into stuff like Nexomon, it got me into stuff like Temtem, it got me into Monster Sanctuary, Cassette Beasts, to name a few. And it's just introduced me to like a whole lot of other experiences that are just really, really insanely fun. Like, obviously they don't have anywhere near like the time and prestige that Pokemon put in, but what they do offer is like insanely good. Like, even in terms of like their designs or like what they set out to do, like they have a lot of quality of life things that Pokemon hasn't even included at all, or took them ages to include in the end.
This might not end well.
Depends on which circle spawned first. Oh!
Super Nightly
duper
Milk!
duper collab!
Well, no, that's the Nightly Milk, but in its enhanced form. That might help things out.
Ooh, yes.
In fact, I can tank walking through these. Fuck it. I was really overthinking that one there.
Just face through the door, you twit. Also, if you know where that quote is from, congratulations, you are just as old as I am.
But my hang-up that I have with a lot of the Pokemon, like, not Pokemon games, like you were describing, I personally think a lot of the ones I've seen lean too hard on just being legally distinct Pokemon rather than, you know,
being their own thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like it. To put it the best way I probably can is that Pokemon, what it really needs is
people to actually try.
Well, that, but also like it needs a game that's like what Shovel Knight is to Mega Man. You know, like it needs that kind of distinction where there's like obviously inspiration there, but like it's got completely different context, it's different setting. It's not just legally distinct to the other thing. Whereas what, like, and this isn't a knock on quality, just like the pretext of what the games is, but I find a lot of the not Pokemon games just make me think of Mighty Number 9s, you know, where it's like, we're gonna have the same premise, but just sort of change a few of the names, because that's the sort of vibe I get, especially when some of the designs feel very reminiscent as well.
Yeah, I can see where you're getting at with those, but for me personally, like Monster Sanctuary and Cassette Beasts are very much the two games that I've personally gotten the most out of, just because they offer something incredibly different compared to what Pokemon offers. Like with Monster Sanctuary, it's like they combined Castlevania Symphony of the Night with a monster taming game, and it turns out to be actually quite amazing.
Oh, nice.
It gives you an incentive to catch everything, because each have their own sort of like overworld abilities, and everyone also has like their own sort of specialties that they can lean into, so eventually you can like very hyper specialize. So you get from like having a team that specializes in a certain element, and then eventually you get like a team that focuses on doing burn damage entirely, and pretty much does everything under the sun to really boost that. So you're getting to a point where like you see that debuff, you can literally make an entire team structured around that debuff specifically.
Oh, okay.
And then you got Cassette Beast, which is kind of different. Like, obviously it follows like a similar premise to obviously like Pokemon in the sense that obviously you catch things, but one of the main differences with that one is more like the style of the enemies, because what they do instead is that they take like monsters and inspire them with like certain like significant or insignificant like quote-unquote historical objects. So like you'll have a monster that's very much themed around the War of the Worlds novels. Oh, and then you like have like a literal traffic cone crab, and the whole lore behind it is that it is literally just based on a traffic cone.
Oh.
So it's like, it plays on like two extremes. Like you'll have like references to like popular media, and then you'll just have like, yeah, this is like made of like an everyday object. And like the other caveat is that rather than like sending them out to battle, you actually change into the beast in question. So like the whole thing is that you're putting them into like cassettes, and the cassettes is what changes you into each of the things that you catch throughout the course of the game. And what that means is that you're effectively the driving force, and that means like any buffs from like one beast that you get, and if you switch them, those buffs will actually carry over because they'll technically put on you, and you're the one that's obviously becoming all these different beasts. And like the whole theme of the game is sort of like you like crash on like some weird island. It's like obviously been a mishmash of like people and cultures, like from all these different points in history. So you could be like from whatever indeterminate time that you're from, and you can meet like someone who's like from the 1990s, or you can meet with someone who's like literally in like born in like the 1800s who speaks in sort of like a forsooth verily sort of thing.
Oh.
And then you have people that are like from the far future as well, that have absolutely no idea of the concept of like a cassette player, for instance. And like the whole thing is sort of like trying to figure out like, where the hell are we? Why are there so many mishmash of like different timelines here? And all through the process, you're like going through like becoming all these different like beasties that you're finding in the world, and like there's also a fusion mechanic in there as well, so you can like fuse with your partner as well and become like this mishmash of two different things, and you know, you get like the skills of both, like including like their passive abilities. So it creates like a very interesting dynamic, and they created two experiences that I'm still very much fond of. Cassette Beast is fairly recent, so I'm fairly confident it will get more stuff down the line, but Monster Sanctuary is very much finished, so if you want like a complete experience, Monster Sanctuary is definitely the one to go for, especially since they're coming out of a new game next year. So if you ended up liking that, you'll probably like whatever they come out with next.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just getting completely fucking tanks right now.
No, you're doing great. Your health's topped up, you're fighting the saplings with glorious vigor, you're doing great.
Let's get some more elite cooking going.
Yes.
See what else I can do. Do you want to give everyone another little reminder about the charity and check the donations and whatnot?
Yep, I certainly can. Let me just check the donos first, see if we've got anything new. Nibs actually came through with a $15 donation. Sorry it couldn't be more. Please do not worry about that. Even if it's a very small amount, it all helps. And like I said, we're in it as much to raise money as we are to entertain you. So anything you offer is just immensely appreciated. He says he's economically challenged, in brackets, lazy. Understandable, I can very much relate to that. But this is a good cause, so keep up the good work. Thank you very much, and we will absolutely endeavour to do so. I mean, we do these well, we've done these every year for the last, 8, 9 years? Are we approaching 10 years yet?
Something like that. Like, I think in the last 10 years we've only had 1 year off, so yeah.
Definitely. So we've done this for a very long time at this point, and I don't think we're showing any signs of stopping soon. I mean, well, speaking for me personally.
Nah, but thank you very much.
Yes, it was very much appreciated. And just in case you do not know what the hell we are doing here, we are playing video games for the Child's Play charity, a game industry charity dedicated to improving the lives of children and teens in hospitals around the world. We are helping to raise money so that they may put more games and more games consoles into hospitals, so that the kids and teens who find themselves with long-term sickness that require long stays in hospitals, and gives them something to do and pretty much doesn't make them think about the mortality of their own existence, which, to be fair, is entirely understandable. Let's see, we've got a couple of questions in the comments here. When you talk about games that are kind of like Pokemon, how do you feel about the Yokai Watch series? I'd say it's kind of similar in that regard. Like, when I say like a monster taming game, I'm talking about like any sort of RPG that is less focused on sort of like the characters in general, and it's more about like collecting things that you can form into a team and you can like change them around. Like, generally when you think of it like a traditional RPG, you sort of like get party members, sure.
Yeah.
You only ever get 8 or 9, and like the ability to sort of change them around doesn't really give you much to work with. Whereas with something like a monster taming game, you usually get hundreds of the damn things, and obviously you're restricted by having only so many at once, and it gives you like a huge ability to just like really sort of get into the nitty-gritty and mess around with stuff, and I really like that. Whether it's just like finding something really cool and making an entire team themed around it, or just thinking, ooh, this is really effective, I should probably do more with this. Like, those are the sort of games that I really, really enjoy, and obviously Pokemon is like usually Big Daddy in terms of that.
Basically.
Recently, I've been trying to sort of broaden my horizons and enhance my tastes, to sound like a pretentious snob for a second there, but only because I feel like a lot of people feel like Pokemon is like the only game in town, which, sure, it may well be, they're the one that gets the most bucks, the most advertisement, etc, etc, but they're not the only game in town, and I think the more you look deeply into it and the more experiences that you know are there that can be extracted, like, you know that necessarily that even if Pokemon games start to disappoint you in the long run, that doesn't necessarily mean that entire genre is dead, because there are people out there that are churning out some genuinely outstanding stuff. Or just balls to the walls and insane stuff like Power World, which I am 1000% in for. Even if the game is like horrendously bad, the gimmick enough is alone that I just want to try this, and I want to see where it goes.
I'm not sure how I feel about that, because like it's the sort of thing that I want the gameplay to kind of, you know, satisfy the expectations going into it, because it could very easily just be like a gimmicky thing that goes nowhere. That's my concerns for that. Like, I hope it turns out strong gameplay wise, but we'll see.
I don't think there are many situations where you want a game to fail. Unless it's Activision, then it's morally acceptable to hope their games fail because that company sucks ass. But honestly, like, memes aside, and obviously my disdain for Activision aside, obviously you don't want a game to fail because people work on those games, and they work really hard, and they all deserve a fair shot. And you can't just pass something off out of turn, like, just because either it looks weird or it doesn't seem like something that will really last past, like, the 2 hours which its gimmick will be entertaining for, or anything like that. So, honestly, just on the virtue of the people that put the work in, like, every game is deserving of a fair shot. Like, I rag on publishers all the time in that regard, but like, they should never really be the binding force of whether you really play a game or not. Because if you go into that route, you're literally restricting yourself to like maybe a dozen games that aren't like made by someone or something that isn't a complete asshole.
It's just one of the things that I don't like purity testing in general. I don't like the idea that you have to check the morality of everything involved, because like that is just
life's too fucking short to be doing anything like that. I just want to play video games, man.
No, but you see, people played this one particular game on their stream, so that means they are supporting every statement the creator made. That's totally irrational way of thinking. What the fuck is going on here?
I know. Oh god, everything's red. Please tell me you have enough health.
I have got to last 6 more seconds until the boss shows up.
Yes, you can do it. I believe in you. The deadbeats are here. They're cheering you on.
There's a lot of deadbeats there.
Bring it on home.
I remember I have 3 revives still, so let's see. Now here's the boss coming up.
I'm waiting.
It's the rat.
Yes, the rat.
And this boss does do some more of the like bullet hell stuff. But given there's so much shit flying around the screen right now, I am just running around hoping for the fucking best.
Oh, you're still out-bulleting the bullet hell in this situation, I think. Like, those spiral things, like, even in games that aren't considered bullet hells, those are like a common occurrence.
Yeah, it's just annoying that there's so many like little stumps of things and trees and whatnot on the overworld that I've got to be really careful about because I can't see shit.
I can't see anything. All I know is that I must kill.
Yeah, we are the bullet hell.
I'm pretty sure that was actually the tagline used for the Vampire Survivors advertising when that was first being made.
That would make sense, yeah. Like, I do want to stress, like, I've been making fun of the performance and that as we go along. It performs much better when you're not also recording and streaming. A lot of this is running slower than it usually would, so like, don't let this put you off the game by any means. And also, KU has mentioned that the Steam version that's coming out in a week or so is going to have like a massive performance upgrade as well. So, like, yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
I mean, that's the thing as well. I mean, when this game first came out, I mean, obviously it was doing, like, very well performance-wise, but obviously as they've added stuff to it, like, some things have just, like, gotten a bit muddier and what have you. Maybe you haven't had a chance to properly look at it before adding more stuff.
Yeah, like, there is such a thing as feature bloat sometimes, and when it's a game that just generates more and more things on the screen at once, like, you can't really perfectly optimize that. There's always going to become like a cut-off point for what you can have running reasonably well.
Yeah, it's like when you have a GPU as well. Like, you could have like the fattest RTX 4090 imaginable, and yet there'll be some games that you'll still experience like performance bugbears with, just because obviously it's just a load of shit coming up at once. Like, you just have to realize that there's no computer on the planet that can reasonably handle that sort of immense amount of guff going on the screen. Like, it all has limits.
Alright,
hey!
first hard mode beat, but yeah, like, I am actually still running this on the 1070 build that you and I put together in 2016. So yeah, this is taking a bit of a beating right now. But
yeah, I can imagine.
I've got one more level that I know for a fact I won't beat, but I think given we did have a donation for Mori, I think I'm going to reprise her for the last run and just see how far I get into the second hard stage.
Go for it.
And we are going to the Holo office in the evening. I'm going to get fucked in like 5 minutes less. I hope you are ready for that. Because this is brutal.
5 minutes or less, that's what we're expecting. Great.
Yeah. Just see how this goes. Because this is meant to be like the Uber you have spent years grinding for this shit sort of level.
Funny thing is, if you had that sort of thing in Vampire Survivors these days, I've probably got characters with so many egg upgrades on them that even if they introduce something just so incredibly hard, like, I'll just be able to kill them no problem, just because I've got a character with about 100,000 eggs on them and they've got like 12,000% move speed or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, and that's just part of like the progression system for games like this. Of, you know, it starts off bullshit hard. You don't know what you're doing. You've got really weak weapons, but by leveling up and getting more and more coins, you can then buy better abilities, and it'll, you know, like, you get further like that.
Yeah, it's like a whole thing where it starts off as being stupidly hard because you don't know what you're doing. All the enemies are like weathering your attacks pretty nicely, and eventually you just die. And you get to a point where after you get upgrades and unlock more stuff, you sort of start to level the playing field a bit. You know, you've gained a level of competence by that time as well. So, you know, you've learned more about the game and you're sort of managing. You may be surviving past like the 30-minute mark or whatever. And then eventually, as you sort of like eventually beat the game and unlock more stuff, and you get like the exponential infinite boosts and things like that unlocked, you just eventually get to a point where where you were struggling, you are now just unquestionably dominating. And most people think that's a bad thing, but I don't necessarily think it is, because, you know, at some point you want to feel like you've just completely beaten and dominated a game. Like, there's absolutely nothing at this point that they can throw at you that you can't just swat away like an insignificant fly. You know, you've gotten that powerful. You have conquered every space. You've mastered every character. You know, at that point, you deserve to just have the feeling of phenomenal cosmic power when you spent the first 50 hours being in the itty-bitty living space.
It also creates demand for more content as well, which is good for a game like this, you know, where, like, because of the nature of the game, it's quite a repetitive gameplay style, and that's fine, because like you say, you know, you start getting better and better at the game, and that makes it feel more satisfying. But eventually you're going to want new levels, and that progression system means that they can then start like tailoring stuff to people who are further on, who have stronger weapons and whatnot. So like it just works really well as like a game release schedules thing as well.
Yeah, and one thing that Vampire Survivors does to help with this... Oh my god, what the hell is that?
Yeah. Oh shit.
Oh no, you've been cornered!
Yep, I'll give that one more go actually.
Yeah, give it one more go.
Yeah, so 2 minutes 14.
You got backed into a corner. But yeah, anyway, as I was saying, like, especially in the DLCs that they released, they turned it less into sort of like those sort of infinite sort of walk left, right, up, down, or whatever, and sort of turned them into sort of like almost adventure experiences in a way. So rather than having like infinitely looping things, they just give you like one massive map with like loads of different landmarks and things like that, and they just let you go ham on it.
Yeah.
And they'll usually hide like little things here and there for you to sort of find, whether it's new characters or new areas underlaying the new areas that they came up with. Like that sort of thing, you know, you don't necessarily have to make a hard map, you just need to make a compelling experience, you know. People will make their own minds up about what the difficulty would be once they sort of reach that critical mass anyway. Like with Vampire Survivors, you can actually just straight up turn off all the eggs you've collected off if you wanted to like go in a little bit more vanilla.
Yeah, this one, it does let you basically refund all your power-ups if you want to have like a early level run again, and then like if you aren't too happy with your current build, you can sort of switch things around. Like say if you boosted everything into speed the first time, you can instead move it to attack, or you know, like get yourself some more re-rolls, things like that.
Yeah.
Which is kind of nice.
I like the fact that they let you sort of experiment. It gives you freedom to experiment with things, especially early on as well. So you like think, ooh, I mean, I'm never particularly fast, so maybe speed's the most important thing. But then you may find that eventually you're getting to a point where you like, maybe damage is more important, and you don't feel like you've just put all your points into speed, and now you know that it's not nearly as important as you thought it was.
Yeah.
And you're not sort of trapped into that now, and you're sort of made to regret your decision. You could just go, refund, rejigger it around. There you go, maybe this will work.
Yeah, let's get some of the Watermate sheep.
Yay, Uber sheep!
Yeah. Let's see if that will help me a little bit, because I don't want to waste all my rerolls too early, but you know, it's also being a bit stingy with healing items.
I also like that the TV is showing the Girigu Wakumanai Watame shorts as well.
Yeah.
Always find the animations for that like weird, so weirdly cursed sometimes, but I like just having those sort of short bursts of just Watame doing a thing, and it's just like, oh, you can't blame me, I didn't do anything wrong.
Watame did borderline nothing wrong.
No, she did not, and anyone who tells you otherwise is speaking falsehoods.
This fucker
nearly
again.
beating your personal best. Yep, there you go.
Yeah.
Just don't get trapped in a Katatsu this time and you'll be fine.
I'll try my best.
You'll be okay. Just think like you're going through IKEA without your wallet. Avoid the furniture.
Yeah, see, I really haven't got much in the way of like healing, so I've just got to wait for the food to drop. Which, alright, there's a bit. Okay, that's him out of the way.
Hey, but then you get to things like this where it's just like, obviously you can see that this is like fairly challenging, and then like if you play for like another 20 hours and then come back to this, you'll wonder how you even struggled. That's like the really funny thing about games like this, where it's all like, you struggle, you come back later on and it's just like, wait, this is really easy.
Yeah.
Why did I find this so difficult before? Obviously knowing like you've had all these upgrades that you picked up, or maybe you unlocked a new character which does significantly better in that specific situation. But the point still stands.
Yeah, it's just like you can feel that you're getting better at it for one reason or another.
Yeah. Even if you don't necessarily believe it yourself.
Body pillow, that might help.
Hey, yes, definitely.
Because that lets you tank a little bit of damage before it starts eating into your actual health, which is nice.
And you say that as you're being caught in the middle of a gang war.
Basically. Oh shit. Okay. Alright, let's get another revive to replace the one I just used.
Yep, there we go. That's it. Pick yourself up, get back in the game. 2 minutes away from your goal.
Well,
2 in-game minutes away from your goal. In terms of real minutes, it's always a bit shaky with these sort of games, because obviously slowdown obviously slows down the in-game timer.
yeah, that and just generally, yeah, I am very vulnerable, and that might fuck with me a little bit. Like the death ability that you see causing explosions every now and then is helping, but still, this is like the brutal hard level, so it is what it is.
Yeah, it's not going to let you have anything without a fight.
No. I've got a special on hand if I need it. I don't want to waste it too early is the thing.
No, definitely not. And this is something else you try and figure out as like you're going through games like this. Sort of like the idea behind upgrading one weapon a lot early on versus just picking up a smorgasbord of weapons.
Oh, well, that didn't do
That'll be
anything
weaker to begin with.
Yeah.
And then like obviously as you level them up they'll obviously get better. But it's more about if having more things is better or if having like a thing that's powerful.
No, please. Right.
Oh,
I don't think I'm going to make the 5 minutes if I'm being realistic here.
that's alright. You got this. I believe in you.
Now I've got myself cornered in the death hole again.
That's alright. You know where the exit is. You'll be fine.
But will I? And they're coming from the bottom as well now. I think I'm fucked.
Oh no! You're so close.
Oh, 449.
Oh, I
know
think we
what?
say that's close enough.
One more try, and then we'll call it a night.
Alright, go for it.
Okay.
I mean, you did better this time.
Yeah, let's see. Let's get the... I want to get a healing one early, but like the closest we've got is max HP. So let's just get the wrapper for now, and that should help like fight off some of the swarming enemies.
Nibs knows what it's all about. One more, last one. 10 more goes later. Last one for real this time.
I mean, you're not starting Symphony of the Night until tomorrow, so we've got a while.
No, this is true, but I'd rather save my 24-hour romp when I'm actually playing Final Fantasy VIII if it's all the same to you.
That is fair.
That's going to be a good time.
Yeah.
More to see if I can actually do it than anything else. I mean, I know I can stay up to 24 hours. I know that I can beat Final Fantasy VIII within a close approximation of 24 hours game time, but can I bring the two together? So yeah, that'll be fun to find out.
Yeah. Like, eventually with them longer streams, you just sort of survive on adrenaline more than anything, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And with RPGs as well, it can be a bit trickier sometimes, because you just get stints where there's like not that much going on. But those like perfect opportunities to sort of like take some decent breaks, you know, you don't have to do much input, you can just have a swig, have a snack, whatever you need to do.
Got the bandage, which should help me with healing a little bit, theoretically.
Yep. And also you got the random burger drops as well to help you along the way.
Pickup range would probably help.
Can't be tired already.
Yeah. Actually, what is the time now?
That's a good question actually. It's just coming up towards 10 past 10.
Oh, not bad.
Yeah, definitely not.
Focus all my energy on the bandage now that I have some attacking weapons. And I have the death explosions.
There you go, you're cleaving your way through rather nicely.
Bit more death, I reckon.
Yeah.
Boost. I think that's just like boosting the likelihood of getting the explosion, which is nice.
More explosions you get, the better. Obviously, the AoE damage is a very important thing to have in games such as this. If it's single target, you're not going to get very far with it. Not unless that single target thing is like almost borderline insta-giving everything.
Alright, it's this fucker again. really need to get him to turn back on himself, but that might have been a mistake.
Yeah, considering all the guys coming at you, but then again, you did cleave a path through, so you know, maybe it's alright.
I do have the bandages this time.
Yep, and there's a burger right there as well, so that'll keep you topped up nicely.
But I don't have the revives this time, which is kind of risky.
Yeah, I'm just thinking if you might find one later on, but I mean, you are doing decent damage, so you are clearing the path quite nicely.
Got the plushie, which is another little line of defense. It at least gives me a few seconds to try and find some health.
Yeah, like extra layers of defense will probably not be a bad idea, especially if your weapon's sort of sufficient.
Oh shit, they're closing in.
Ooh, got a nice explosion chain there, though. That might have saved you. And then the Borg coming in clutch.
Let's see, a bit more. Actually, the BL book will probably help having something surrounding me, won't it?
Yeah, go for it. I mean, like I said, maybe having multiple weapons is the play here.
Yeah, like the more chip damage I can have will probably help as well. I can't remember what's the other side of this office block section here, but I will have to gamble my life on it.
Yep.
Oh, it's even more closed in. Wonderful.
That's alright. You've got a conga line forming here, so you should be alright.
It's a big empty spot here. I think I can tank one line of these. There we go.
Yeah, there you go. Approaching the 44-minute mark.
I'm getting closer, but like I've got rid of the big guy, but I need to get rid of some of these other fuckers to be able to get his item.
That's alright. A few explosion chains, you'll be right as rain.
Hopefully.
Well, there we go. It's actually free. You actually cleared so many, it freed up your frame rate.
Yeah, a little bit. Let's get some more bugs and a bit more death and the revive, mate. That's what I needed.
Definitely. I always like when you get those crazy level up chains. Ooh, super limiter. Oh, more pickup range. Oh, yes, that's very nice.
And another bandage.
Ah, great stuff, great stuff. This is what we like to see.
Yeah, but a lot of these I feel like they're faster than me, so I've got to be quite tactical about this.
There's no way your healing items are. Find where your clearest spaces, and then that way you're not taking as much damage as you're walking through.
Fuck it, more bergs.
Yeah, reduce that cooldown. It makes sense if you haven't got another revive in the tank.
Shit, Berg. No, Berg wasn't enough. This might be it.
Oh, well, you have got a revive, don't forget.
But
You just got to survive 20 seconds.
sheep or another revive. I reckon another revive.
Get another revive. Even if you only survive 10 seconds, you don't have to survive another 10 seconds. We're keeping the eye on the prize here. 5 minutes is what we're after.
Yeah, that's our goal.
That's our 30 minutes.
Yeah, sure, why not?
We're starting small and working our way up. That's the excuse.
One. Right, 5 minutes. Nice. Okay.
Hey!
If I die now, I can die happy.
Yep, there we go. We have achieved our victory for this particular one.
Shit. They're throwing everything now. They don't want me to make it much farther than this.
So, alright, you got him, what, lads? Rush him.
Yeah. Alright, there's another big guy down. Let's get some more food. Alright, what are we gonna get? Another book. Okay.
That increases the damage on that, so that'll help a little bit.
Now I've got to weave my way back. Let's get another revive while I'm at it.
Alright, there we go. Well, we might even reach 6 minutes.
Let's not get too ambitious here.
You can't tell me what to do.
I can and I will. Oh fuck. Full cross-hatch pattern.
This is where the chest stream's coming. Connor, where are you? We need your help.
Oh fuck. I am screwed.
Oh.
I'd probably need some more attack at this point, don't I?
Yeah, get the side swing.
Oh, this sticker might come in handy. That increases the attack size, so I've got a little bit more coverage.
Yep, that'll go nicely, especially when you get the explosions. They'll probably have more overlap that way.
Hopefully so. Sort of doing this weave in and out pattern, and hopefully they don't clock onto it.
It's alright, they're AI, they're not smart enough to figure that out yet. They can't even make an article that can't be fact-checked first. Oh, that was so amazing. It's like Reddit just randomly coming up with like a random wild thing and then somebody reporting it as an official source. Yes, Globo is coming back! Everyone's excited about Globo, and everyone just looks at them just with a shit-eating grin.
So that's the thing, AI tools are fantastic, but they do need a bit of manual oversight, and that seems to be what's missing right now.
Yes, either through lack of wanting to, or...
It's just content farms, that's what they're doing right now. They just,
yeah.
They have it automatically produce an article that has enough buzzwords in it that it'll get passed around and it'll get algorithmically suggested to people.
Yeah, it turns out if you mention the word Globo enough times, you can get into any news article. Which makes me wonder what other words we can use. Nope, if the AI says it, then it must be true. That seems to be the future that they want us to live in. Thankfully, AI at the moment is still too stupid without manual intervention to quite put us into the dystopian hellscape that we've been promised just yet.
Well, that's the thing, again, I like AI tools. I think some of the AI image generation tools are fantastic, and I feel like it is the advent of something that's going to be massive, but people need to learn to use it.
Also need to generally use it not for evil.
And, there's a lot of concerns about AI taking people's jobs and that, but, at this point...
Everything's taking our jobs.
Yeah, but it's going to happen anyway, so you need to just learn how to integrate it into your workflow. Because this is an inevitability. Every new piece of technology fucks somebody over.
Yep, it just lessens the need for manual labor until eventually none of us are working. And then what are they going to do? Oh, hello. How the hell are you meant to dodge this? Oh, it's a bomb.
It is a strain nuke, yeah, so I don't think I have enough damage on him. 2,
1. Will it kill you instantly?
Well, I mean, yes, but...
Well, I mean, the countdown finished and you're still alive.
Yeah, but I also, if I get too close to him when he blows, it's probably gonna make things worse, and I'm also letting them swarm in on me. Okay, right, I need to have my automatic healing going. Yeah, I think revive, but he's still going because of course he fucking is.
He don't care. He'll blow up this place anyway.
What the fuck is going on
regardless
screen right now?
Yeah, the game's really out to get you now.
Sure, more Uber sheep. That slight pause in the music wasn't making me comfortable at all. Bossy's just trying to have a blast, literally. Oh, there's Yago too.
Hey!
Oh, fuck. Ah, fuck.
No, base CEO, leave me alone. I can't afford to buy more merch.
Alright, let's just try and stall a bit while I heal up. Anything I can do that can help with that? Nope, I'm out of rerolls, so let's just get more headphones.
Yep, go for it. I mean, we're at the 9-minute mark now, we're doing great.
Let's not jinx it here.
Well, I mean, we've already did what we set out to do. Anything else is just extra icing, really.
Sure, let's make the thing bigger. And that'll hopefully help with the swarms a little bit more.
Indeed, and hopefully whatever's in this box will also help.
Spider cooking.
Alright.
Not exactly what I needed, but it's not bad either.
No, this is true. Any little extra does help. Apparently, Deimos, are you going to check out Doki V? I have no idea what that is, so I'll have to look it up at some point.
Sure, more health.
Tell you what, I'll figure out what it is and I'll report back to you.
Oh, I'm not going to use the reverse stamp, so I'll just buff this up even more. That just fires weapons backwards, which sounds like a really irritating way to play.
It reminds me of, oh, what was it? There was a game that, like, if you pick up, like, a mirror or something like that, it, like, reverses the direction of the shots in, like, some weird way. Oh, it was Binding of Isaac, the broken mirror in that one. Hated that thing. Oh, we're at the 10-minute mark. Mikodine makes an appearance, and Archan at the same time. Okay, we might be a wee bit screwed here.
Yeah, I am not too optimistic about our circumstances here.
Yep. No, we'll survive. For as long as we are able. Archer's just kind of doing her own thing, and Mikodine is sort of walking menacingly towards you, so nothing too bad's happening right now.
Shit.
Shame there's no friendly fire. This would make this so much easier.
Yeah, for real.
It's not jinxing to choose to believe in my friends. What are you trying to say here?
That's Miko down. So
Hey, there we go.
let's see what she gave us. Yeah, sure, whammy water.
Whammy one.
Again, too much shit going on.
You got good AoE at the moment. Cleaving away quite happily. So what is the pink health bar? Is that like poison damage or something like that?
Now the pink is the plushie, because it gives you a minute to fix your health if you get down too low.
Oh, I see. So it's like delayed damage.
Yeah, basically.
Ah, okay.
Which is either useful in letting your other healing weapons do their thing, or it's terrifying because you know you're going to die and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, usually I would have thought if you didn't have any healing items to use in tandem with that, that's more just a, yeah, you're fucked, but we're gonna give you a second to dwell on it.
Yeah, just soak it in. It'll be fine. You're just dying.
It's like, you failed and you're gonna die, and here's why, and you can't do anything about it because you suck. As you're being chased around from what I believe is one of Pecora's mascots.
I think it might be. Let's...
Missing the weird, like, ear accessories, though. It might be a low tier Pecora follower. Hasn't quite earned its ears yet. Ah yes, Indescript Blob, my favourite mascot.
Shit. Health, please. Anything health related would be nice, please. I'm dead. 13 minutes, 10 seconds. I think that will do us for this run.
Yeah, I mean, you got double and some change of what you came in for, so I'd say you did right as rain on that one. You did very well. Well done.
Want to pull some outfit gakshas while we're here?
Well, may as well, seeing as we haven't really revealed that portion of the game just yet.
Alright, let's see. Actually, is it outfits here, or is that just boosts? I think it might just be boosts. Let's see. Oh, I've got Ina's rank up, outfit get. So that's one of our ultimate outfits there. Let's do another myth one.
Wonderful.
These are all 1,000 coins each, which become nothing. I think I might already have Kiara's alternate outfit. Let's do a Council and Hope one. Rank up for Crony. Let's see the gamers. Yeah, Corone rank up.
Hey, look how happy she is to be here.
Yeah. Gen 0 got an ASCII rank up. She's actually pretty fun to play as in this game, actually, as well. What about Gen 1? Who am I gonna get? Got Matsuri.
Gen 1ers.
Back Gen 2. Yep, Choco rank up.
Alright.
And this will be who's coming in the next update. You can kind of see from the silhouettes that it's Holo ID there.
Yep, Risu, Muna,
Yeah.
Rine, Ollie, Anya, Eofi, Kayla, Kobo, and Zeta.
Yeah, I think they're putting all the girls in one patch, which is neat. The other upgrades that we've got, I don't think I've got enough left for an up. Oh, I can get a haste upgrade, which that'll probably do me handy in the future.
Indeedy.
Yeah, this game does also have an achievement system, which I've got a few, but you can see the one that I still haven't got yet. Thank the managers, defeat the boss of stage 2 hard. I don't even know who the boss is in that one that we were just on. I haven't got that far yet. But yeah, what else have I got? The real grind, get 1,000,000 coins. Not yet, but you know, it kind of expects you to do that. I haven't got to a level 100 yet. And I don't really use any of the challenge mode ones, but that'll probably be something that I get to when I am not eating shit on the final level still. There's one called Pain Pecco, which is cool.
Yeah, I can respect funny achievement names. That's why I like Final Fantasy 14 and 16 so much. Koji Fox does amazing work with the localizations of the names there.
The final achievement there.
Get some help. Well, that'll be what Kayla will be unlocking at some point, I imagine, if she hasn't done so already.
Yeah, like, her stream schedule is fucking, like, she's on, like, seemingly all day fucking every day, isn't she? And I don't know how.
She operates on next to no sleep.
Basically, yeah.
I think she even said as much that she doesn't like sleeping very long.
Some people are just like that, and I get it.
Yeah. Still insane, though.
I think that will do us nicely for the HoloCure Save the Fans stream. Tomorrow we have Castlevania Symphony of the Night randomizer, and then I believe after that it's my Spark 3 playthrough, isn't it?
Oh yes, I bet you're looking forward to that one. You do love you some Spark.
I am indeed, and because we hit the incentive for that one, I will also be playing the ported over Spark the Electric Jester 2 levels, which was something neat they added in, but we'll talk more about that then. Thank you to everyone who's come along today, who's donated, and who's just generally kept us company in stream. We really do appreciate it, and we will see you tomorrow for more of the HellfireComms All-Stars Marathon. Bye bye for now.
See you all later.